Hello, hello. Welcome on into another episode of the Digital Quill Podcast. I have with me another guest for the day. Please go ahead and welcome.
Hello, I'm Chadwick. I'm on YouTube as @ForgingThought. I am a 40-year-old creator who has been out of the game for a minute but getting back into it, and I try to inspire deep thought and expanded philosophy on things that certain people might not think about all the time.
Great introduction, actually. You have definitely inspired my own thoughts before, and just when we chat and message each other, and I think you've left some insightful comments before on my YouTube, if I'm not mistaken.
A few.
A few.
I think I've chimed in a couple of times.
That's actually...
I think I even praised your cow print onesie, which I thought was amazing, by the way.
I think it's amazing too. It's like a cow Dalmatian onesie thing. I'm not even sure what it is. It doesn't have cow ears. It has bear ears.
What? That's kind of weird. Then it's like where the wild things are almost.
I will flash the bear ears the next episode just for you. How's that?
Nice. There you go.
All right. I want to do things just a little bit differently today because we haven't really had this kind of level of I don't know what you would call us. Creators. I'd call us creators. What do you call us creators?
Either that or carbon-based life forms. One of the two. I'd say creators, yeah.
That's true. Creators, carbon-based life forms. You're not a robot, are you? I'm pretty sure you're not a robot.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Good.
None of your damn business.
That is not how a robot would respond. So we're on good terms already.
Definitely not a robot. Pretty much anti-robot, actually.
I had a list of questions I wanted to ask you, but let us start with probably the most trending topic right now and the most visionary topic right now, AI and its implementation with humans and technology. It just, off rip, tell me anything and everything you want to about your thoughts or your predictions for AI.
I am both excited and terrified for AI.
Same.
Because I believe that where AI has the potential and is already benefiting mankind to an extreme degree. It is, I think the major benefits it has is, in a second you can turn to any device and say, blah, 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 give me, what's this distance? What's this anything? Any type of information you're looking for, and in an instant it can give it to you. Where that falls short, though, is I think that in the future it's going to encourage students to be lazy. I think it's going to totally halt one of the things that I think is the most beneficial in education, where a student, when I was a kid, I'm 40. I hate thinking about the 40. I was born in 1985. I don't look it, but I feel it. I don't even feel it, but I definitely am when I do the math, and that bothers me. However, when I was a kid, doing a report on, say, a state or geographical location, whatever it was, didn't matter what it was, I'd have to go look in the encyclopedia. We had, when I was in elementary school and middle school, we had AOL dial-up. It was a very slow process if you wanted to use the internet. It was more beneficial to just go to the library and look in a book. You had to seek out the information for yourself, and in seeking out the information, you had to take steps. You had to say, look up, like, I'm looking up this type of salamander. What information can I find on the salamander? You might have to look at, it's in New Zealand. Okay, well, let me look up the region of New Zealand. You'd learn all this other stuff on the way, and you would also learn the problem-solving skills that got you to where that was. It was essentially showing your work within your own mind. When they say show your work in math, it was giving you the tools to get to the steps you got to. And I believe AI research in the future is going to negate all those steps, and while it might be faster, it's also going to completely halt the beneficial things of that, which I think the information is not going to stick in people's brains as well. I think it's going to encourage one of the biggest problems that we've had in schooling over the last several decades that's become noticeable and people see it. The fact that you're not learning skills and you're actually not obtaining knowledge, you're only getting the knowledge to be able to pass a test. because students have figured out they just need to be able to pass a test and they pass the class, but they don't retain the knowledge that they've learned because it's just to pass a test. I think learning through AI and getting that research with AI in the future is going to encourage sloth in our ability to retain the knowledge that we've learned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one thing about it, is the educational thing that's benefit, and it's a benefit to risk ratio, just like everything else in life. I think that AI has the potential. One of the big benefits I see is there's certain calculations and certain things that humans haven't been able to calculate yet, or humans haven't been able to figure out yet, that in an instant it'll be able to accomplish. Things in the medical field, things in quantum math, things that would really be a major hindrance to certain things, but now it's going to be solved at an exponential rate that humans would have taken decades to do. I think that's a benefit. I think a major drawback is, if you look at systems that we have in place currently and have had in the past throughout our history, every single system, no matter what it is, whatever advance in technology we have, whether it's a stethoscope or it's AI, modern technology in a computer, it's always been exploited by the people who wish to exploit it. That means greater crimes, greater plagues on mankind. For lack of a better term, the things that put us back, as far as suffering is the wrong word, but the things that would plague us as a species, stealing people's money, all the different things that criminals use, and all the negative things that can be attributed to any piece of technology, it's going to be expanded at a rate that we will not be able to control. Because as it was before, you come up with a wallet that blocks people from scanning your credit card chips through your pocket. Well, now they got this. It's one thing after another, and AI is not only going to itself, the programs that are made are going to expedite the problems that we have with that technology. It's also going to, AI will be able to figure out new ways to create new AI programs. So where it was is the criminality and the negative things that came with it would be a slow-paced expansion. Now it's going to be exponential, and we're not going to be able to put the lid back on that bottle now that the genie's out. I do think AI has its place, and I do think it will be very beneficial, but it's very hard to see currently at the moment if the benefits will outweigh the risks unless we can figure out a way to actually safeguard it properly. And I think that's the biggest problem, because when you get into AI, it doesn't matter how much intelligence you put in that artificial intelligence, it's still originally programmed by a person, a human being, and human beings are flawed, and human beings are going to miss things. So that's a very complex and rambling way of saying, I don't know if the good's going to outweigh the bad, but I sure hope so, because it's got the potential to do both in unforeseeable ways.
I honestly couldn't have said that better myself, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't know if the bad or the good outweigh each other. I hope so. I hope the good outweighs the bad, because I am online a lot. I doom scroll. I try to plan content. I create content and stuff. And I see people talking. And I'm like, wow, there's a strange amount of divide happening over this. Can we stop that? Because this is a tool that's being gifted to us. A tool that we could use to not divide us, but, maybe create better pathways for humans to actually survive in this capitalistic hellhole.
Yeah.
We should be figuring out ways to use it ethically on all the levels, if possible: social, economical, environmental, political, every level and layer of what you could have socially. And yeah, I honestly couldn't have said that better at all.
Yeah, and that's where the problem lies, is because, like I said, it falls down to the humans that programmed it or the humans that are implementing it, because it can do amazing things, but it's up to the humans to implement it in the ways that it needs to be done. The tool can do wonders, but you got to have the right tool. And when you deploy that tool, you need to make sure you're aiming for the right stuff, or else you're not going to be fixing what you want to fix. And for me, it's for the longest time when I first started my YouTube channel, I started it because someone said, dude, you got a good voice, and you actually, you talk about some intriguing stuff, so people might want to hear what you have to say. before that, I was completely protesting technology. I absolutely hated the internet. I hated, like, I wasn't like Ted Kaczynski or any crazy crap like that, but I absolutely hated the idea of social media. I currently have a Snapchat and a Facebook I haven't opened in over 6 years, and and it's still there. It's just I haven't opened it, and there's a reason why. I think that there's a huge problem. I observed while I was living in Portland, Oregon. I observed I was working in bars. I observed that people would go out on a date. There'd be a couple on a date, and they would take photos of their cheeseburger and post it online before they would ask each other how their day was. Um, People were more engaged with their online activities than they were with their interpersonal communications and their intimate one-on-one interactions they had with human beings. I've always thought that there's a huge issue with social media in the way that, um, you know, way back, I hate saying back in the day, but back in the day, if you said something stupid or if you said something that was completely ridiculous or, just an abhorrent thing to say, your family or your friends or those close to you would be like, dude, don't ever say that to anybody ever again. Are you serious? Don't say that. Nowadays, somebody comes up with something ridiculous or something that's just, it doesn't make sense or it's, distasteful or whatever, and they say it to their family or friends, and their family and friends say, oh, we don't like that. Then they can go, well, screw you guys, I'm going to go online. And they get 1,000 thumbs ups from a bunch of strangers they've never met, and they feel justified in that behavior. And that's bred an ecosystem of people who feel justified in negative actions and what we would deem to be socially awkward or negative behavior. And I think that's one of the reasons we become so polarized and so at each other's throats is everybody thinks their opinion matters more than everyone else. And it's a super toxic, poisonous way for us to think. So it was very hard for me to get back into the whole swing of things with social media and the technology, and AI is the next evolution of that.
So I kind of want to. I had an idea that came to me as you were speaking about pretty much what I call culture online. I'm sure there's actual names for it or whatever, but me personally, I brand it as troll culture. There's a movie that I kind of like because it's kind of like a psychological horror. It's called I'm Just Fucking With You. It's on Hulu. And it's literally all about this guy getting messed with because he's like this super serious online troll, like to the point where it's just, I would watch the movie. I think it's a pretty well directed movie if you like film and stuff like that. But
I do.
It's I kind of attribute
I have a very
that.
weird look towards movies, but people think my reviews are ridiculous, but I love movies.
Well, we're gonna pin this conversation because
Okay.
I like that. I like that. I like whatever you just said about movies. That just intrigued my interest. But so
I just look at movies. I usually look at movies through a very weird pinhole of human emotion. Like I think one of the most terrifying horror movies I've ever seen is The Notebook, and everybody laughs at me. And they say The Notebook isn't a horror movie, and I say absolutely it is.
now you have that in one of your bios somewhere. And I've been meaning to ask you about that. How is The Notebook a horror movie?
Name for me. Are you familiar with things like ALS and Alzheimer's and the various or Parkinson's things like that?
Yes.
Name to me something as horrifying or more horrifying than being a prisoner inside your own body where your mind is sharp and able, but you cannot control your body or communicate with anyone. That would be under the Parkinson's. Or name something more terrifying than being a slave of your own body and mind where you know that you're fully physically capable and cannot control what your brain is doing. Knowing that your body is essentially a robotic suit that protects your brain. All we are is a brain, and our body is the robotic suit that protects our brain and keeps it alive. What's more horrifying than losing control of that?
Point taken. Touche.
The Notebook is a horror film.
Add that to the way that they try to cover that up with a cute love story that.
Mm. And that's part of it. That's part of what makes it worse is, here's somebody who's, they don't know what's going on. They're freaking out. And then all of a sudden they learn that they have this ultimate love, like the ultimate love story, the ultimate happily ever after, but they can't remember it.
Or re-experience it to any capacity.
To me, that sounds like the worst version of hell that's ever been described.
No. I'm going to step into that boat very carefully now so we don't capsize this. But, yeah. The Notebook is a horror movie.
Glad we agree.
I don't think I want to watch it again after knowing that.
It's part of why people don't like talking to me sometimes, because they think I ruin things.
Oh no, you didn't ruin that. I have probably rewatched that movie enough times. There's probably better horror movies out there.
One of the reasons I enjoy like B movies and campy, like I love the Friday the 13th movies. I love the Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, the ones that have a tinge of comedy to them, like comedy horror films, because I just think that that's more appropriate anyway. It makes for a more of a complete story, and it's enjoyable.
Do you like Ted by any chance?
Ted onesie, one of my onesies is a Thunder Buddies Ted onesie.
That's perfect.
I have a
So,
Grumpy Bear and a Ted.
I have a request for if and when we do a future podcast episode together that's entirely video related.
Shoot,
Wear the onesie. I'll wear my onesie, and it'll be great.
you got it.
Awesome. Okay. Glad we agree
Next time
on
I'll
that
probably have
one.
a camera set up too.
Circling it back to my trolling point, uh, I say sometimes, especially to like friends and stuff, that I admire Eric Andre. Do you know who that is by chance? The Andre
I
Show?
do. I do.
Okay. I admire his ability to give no fucks, but I think he's an asshole and everyone else would probably agree. I want to be able to like have that same energy but do it in a positive way that doesn't destroy people or like traumatize people, but like uplifts them or gets them to laugh and smile in like a good way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes
Absolutely,
sense.
because I've often thought the exact same thing about his comedy.
Thank you.
He he has the I don't give a shit attitude, but at the same time he does it in a way that's not mindful. And
Yes.
he needs to take he needs to read the room more, because while he has the delivery ability, he doesn't necessarily ever think about if he has the delivery necessity. You know, he goes on the subway train or the tube, and he pours, 5 gallons of cereal and milk on the floor for no reason. And it's like, yeah, that'd be funny to some people who like jackass style comedy, but then he leaves the train and doesn't clean up anything, or it's he's an asshole. You can be an asshole with comedy and not be just a
Like a
degenerate weirdo about it.
malicious
It's the
or
whole
unmindful.
it's the whole TikTok generation, and I've never had TikTok, and I'll never have TikTok. It's the whole generation of people that they think comedy is what these social media influencers, since that term has become popular. These people, like, I don't know their names. I don't know any of their names. I'll never learn their names because I hope they get put into a meat grinder. No offense, but actually, yes, offense. But the people who, I saw recently, somebody got a million views, and obviously they're making money off it because they just walked into a karate studio or a taekwondo studio with a bunch of children. It was a children's class, and one adult woman who was teaching the class. They walked in with a giant speaker, and they just walked in there and started spanking themselves to loud electronic music, and that was the whole bit. And when the teacher's like, "Can you please leave? This is a children's class," they just kept spanking themselves, and then the person filming was like, "Oh, blah blah blah," blah," and just started. What the hell? What the hell is that? That's entertainment. Get the hell out of here. To me, it's I don't. People are gonna say, "Oh, it's because you're old." No, it's because it's not funny.
I have probably at least a dozen people who would agree with you, and numbers don't always lie. So yeah. Man. Back to the social media thing, because I'm with you.
Yeah, sorry, I tend to wander on subject.
No, you're fine. I like that kind of style of conversation because my mind is always firing in a million different directions. So, like, people who can keep up with my mind firing in a million directions, you're allowing my mind to be creative instead of cordial and, I guess on topic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Thank you. But back to the social media thing. I agree with you fully. I can't say I like social media. I like what it's capable of. I don't like what it does right now. I feel like it's actually kind of... God, I'm being too nice about this.
Well, it's. I
It
think it's kind of what I said to you before about it. It's the benefit to risk ratio. It's the same thing as what AI is going to be. Social media. I think I told you in the one message I sent you before. It's had the benefit of being. You can communicate with somebody across the country in less than a second. That's amazing. When I was younger, you had to do long distance phone calls, or it took forever to do emails. It's the benefit to risk, and it's like where we've let it go. It started something amazing, and then even in the beginning there was certain bad things about it, but they were minimized. And then over time, it's gotten to where so many people have, there's so many fingers in the pie. Now it's, what do we got? It's become what it's become.
Where do you see social media going in the next, like, God, it's like a, what, 30, 33 years old?
Hmm.
Where do you see it going in the next 30 years? If we are talking positively, like we finally got on the right track with it, where do you see us in a good direction? Because I don't want to talk about all the bad directions. I
Right.
hypothesize those enough.
I think it's talking about the good and the bad. It's difficult to really, because certain things we haven't thought of yet, and most of the good things and the bad things is just things that we haven't yet conceived. I think it's going to do the same thing that television media did, whereas it starts small, and then it's going to ever expand until we get to a point where maybe some new type of technology or some new type of format or whatever new kind of media is produced. 'Cause if you think about television, when was TV was made in what, the 40s, 50s, and
Something
then
like
I
that.
think it was like the 70s before every, maybe the late 60s before every household had a television in it. Started small, technology advanced, 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 and then we got to a point where it's like, okay, well now you had cable and then you have streaming services. I think it's going to social media will just ever evolve until it gets to a new type of thing, and then that new thing, whatever it may be, will get on to the next thing.
I wonder what the likelihood that new thing is gonna be created by more AI than than human
Well,
input.
that's undeniable. Undeniable. I mean, look what we already have. People are already faking movies and music and all kinds of stuff.
Have you seen those ridiculous AI cat videos?
No, I've seen a bunch of AI videos, and a bunch of very unfortunate celebrity ones and other things. I
Oh,
think the other
this.
day somebody sent me a video of Putin making out with Trump, which was interesting.
Oh gosh, the celebrity ones are weird. I saw a Michael Jackson one the other day, and I'm like, I think he was on a leash, and I'm like, what is this?
Hmm.
The cat ones bother me because I'm like, we have regular cat videos. We we
Yeah.
don't need computer generated ones. Just go adopt a cat. There's plenty of them who need homes.
Well, and what's frightening to me is if you look at one of the things that gets to the AI and all the things we're talking about that. If you look at like the advancement of the AI videos a year ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 2 years ago, the only videos I saw that were AI videos, there was one really popular one that went around the internet, went around YouTube, and it was like several different variations of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And it was like really poorly done, and it looked scary as hell. Like there was just things about it that was disturbing, but there were several versions of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And then all of a sudden it started getting a little bit better, a little bit better. The other day I saw one of Trump making out with Putin. I saw one of Trump speaking, and he was talking about nuclear war, and it looked like Trump sitting at a table speaking about nuclear war, and it was AI. It's frightening how and concerning how advanced it's gotten in such a short period of time. And if you compare that with the forms of media that have advanced by humans designing over the last several decades, it's the advancement is at minimum 10 times better as far as that ability, and then it'll exponentially get better from there. So you're talking it's going to be 100 times past what our abilities can be probably currently now. It's probably not even going to be a future thing. It's probably way beyond that now. I mean, even as we're sitting here,
It's
the
being
social
worked
media
on
forums
right
and
now.
everything having to do with it, because all the AI is going to advance every single part of social media that we have. And where's it going to go? I think it could do some good stuff. I think it could. I'm very interested. I'm interested to see as far as social media implementation, where it's going to go as far as like these wearable devices that people have now. Um, You know, when I was a kid, people would talk about computers on your wristwatch. That was like Jetsons shit. Nobody thought that was gonna be real. Um, Now they're doing it, and I mean it's limited, but and they're ugly as hell. If I got to put it, it looks like people got a record player on their damn wrist. But um, yeah, I'm interested to see like with the glasses that companies are coming out with the artificial intelligence glasses and the camera glasses and all this stuff. Maybe not the camera ones, but the ones that you have visible displays in and everything. I'm very curious to see where those go. I think there's going to be more social media implementation with those. I think perhaps social media is going to be more linked with our personal metrics, like people who have health issues. I think that's going to be more connected to their wearable stuff. I think there's a lot of things that are potentially going to be great that I'm very curious to see where it's going to go, and I hope it does improve on certain things. Just got my fingers crossed it's going to be good.
One of the things that I keep trying to stress in my communities and with my friends and everything is even if they don't think like their YouTube videos or their social media reels, like their videos or their photos or like whatever they want to create, stories, whatever, like anything that you can create and put online or put into the world. I have a lot of them who are scared, and I'm like scared to create because they don't feel like they're good enough, scared to create because they don't want their stuff stolen. And I'm like, the only real defense against computers taking away the creativity entirely is if we, each of us as humans, stop complaining about it and actually start creating, even if we feel like we suck at it, because one,
Right.
creating will saturate the market if we are humans creating. It's a numbers game, I feel like.
Yeah, I can say one of my regrets that I do have with it is I've deleted probably because I had a lot more stuff on my channel than I do now, and one of the reasons I was very fed up with a lot of the thing. I got trolled relentlessly. I put a lot of my story out there, and one of the things that's had the biggest impact in my life was being a father to my daughter and everything she went through. And I got trolled relentlessly by people who were telling me that my daughter was fake and I was making up having a kid and all this weird crap. And it's like the abuse and the weird stuff that I had to go through with that. I just kind of got fed up. I'm like, see, this is why I hate social media. And I have personally at least 10 hours worth of material that I have had recorded, edited, and ready to go. I've had ready to go, and I just deleted it because I was like, fed up, like why am I even going to put this online? Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to want to see this. I had a series that I was starting that was going to be an exploration of the history of good and evil and how humans perceive good and evil, the concepts of good and evil throughout the history of mankind and what's got us where we are now. And I've deleted all of it. I had a whole bunch of conspiracy theory videos on my channel debunking conspiracy theories, like what caused the fires in Maui and California and things like that, debunking all these things, space lasers and all that crap. And I just deleted them because I got fed up with it, and I deeply regret that because they're gone. I don't have them saved on anything or backed up on anything. And it was good stuff, but definitely create. Definitely, the first couple of videos I had on my channel are still up where I was in somebody's live chat, and they were like, well, who's going live next? Hey, Forging, you should go up next. And I was like, yeah, screw it. So I hit the live button, and I did. And it actually was a lot of fun. So definitely never second guess anything you're going to do, and never give power. I've said this a bunch of times, but never give power to anyone who would ever drag you down, because that's what your enemies do, and you don't want to give them that. Don't ever let somebody take hold of a rope that would be an anchor around your foot while you're trying to swim. It's just, if you have something in you that you want to say, if you got something to say it twice. Don't hold it in.
Speaking on the notes of like my artist friends who are scared to create because they're like, I don't know what to draw. I don't know what to draw. Like I don't want to see just finished projects from you. Like, show me your rough drafts. Show me your line art. Show me your stupid, silly little doodles. I'll show you my stupid, silly little doodles.
Show your process. Show it as it goes.
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to be always serious. Just creation's not about seriousness, and I feel like that's like a downfall of the modern social media and like capitalism and just everything in general, is like we got so far away from the plot about what creation and humanity is that we have so many problems and people just not accessing their full power for themselves. And it's makes me sad because I'm like, you're great, you're a good creator, even if you have a bad day. Sorry, I could rant about that forever because like
No, even if you're creating something, because you are always going to be your worst subject, or not your worst subject, you are always going to be
worst
your worst
enemy.
critic 100% of the time. And even if you create something that you yourself kind of second guess, like, oh, I could have done this different, I could have done this
It's a
different,
learning
you still
experience.
created. There's still something there that is 100% there that before you created it was 100% not there.
And that's like the
And you know what?
beautiful part about being human. You know, like you
Yeah.
now brought something into existence just with your own two hands, with your own mind.
And that's kind of when I started my channel. That's why my channel is called Forging Thought. Is I've been blacksmithing since I was 9, doing metalwork and steelwork. And I think on your Discord, I posted pictures of a rose that I forged.
Yes, you did. That was you.
Yeah, and I all I did is I had some scrap steel. I had some 3-inch square tube, and I beat on it and got with a torch and beat on it and made petals, and I welded the petals together and I made a steel rose, and I showed it step by step on the Discord when I was making it before I painted it and everything. And it was all scrap steel. It was all garbage that or not garbage, but it was all scrap steel. I wasn't using for anything else. I just made a rose. And I got into doing that and doing repurposing of steel, like turning propane tanks into stoves and things like that, because when I was a kid I saw somebody throwing away a whole boat trailer in the dump at the landfill, and I didn't get it. I asked my uncle why somebody was doing that, and he couldn't answer me. So I developed this urge to want to repurpose steel because I saw a lot of it going in the landfill, and it pissed me off.
If my dad were alive, he would absolutely love that concept because he used to work for a place called National Mall Front here in Phoenix, and he's done metal work for companies like Disney and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Building the skeletons for their sculptures and things like that.
Stuff like that.
That's cool.
We didn't really know it until after he passed away and we got his briefcase full of like blueprints and his resume. But he would design the thing first, make it, and then go back and make the blueprints. He designed and built the revolving stage at Celebrity Theater, and I still have not seen that stage today. I wish I could see his ingenuity and how he created that. I wish I had access to the plan still. That'd be awesome. But no, he would love your idea with reforging steel and just how you create.
Repurposing steel.
Yeah.
I've often made my blueprints afterwards because until it's built, like you think your way through the project as you're doing it is what happens to me. I'm that person. People think I'm on drugs or something like that when I'm at Home Depot or when I'm at the hardware store, because I'll stand in front of the aisle that has all the nuts and bolts on it, and in my head I'll be putting together this whole sculpture, this whole thing, and I'm like, what bolt can I use for that? What can I do for this? And then I'll sit there putting it together in my head and just stare at the nuts and bolts for about half an hour. People all the time come up, are you okay? You need help? No, I'm good. Okay. And then they all talk at the end of the aisle staring at me.
Wow.
But my big thing, the word forging, it's got several different meanings, but the word forging is to take, you take a line from one of my songs, and one of my poetry slams things I'm going to be doing up here soon is information is your red hot steel and the hammer is your mind. The act of forging is taking a raw material and manipulating it into what your final product will be, so it's an improved form. Forging is taking something and molding it into an improved form. Forging thought is the idea of taking an individual thought, idea, or anything that's in your mind and working it until it's something better and something more advanced and something more evolved. That's what forging thought was to be originally. And yeah, that's my whole thing is I'll never ask anyone to think the way that I think. I just want to inspire you to think.
I wish thinking, oh gosh, this is going to sound terrible. Let me try to make it a good way of saying. I wish people could think how we think sometimes, because then they might be able to understand a little bit more of like our own internal personal struggle, if that makes sense. But the problem is that perspective is everything. Everyone has their own, and while we can only inspire others, we can't get them to.
And that's why perspective is the most important thing to try to inspire people to see, because they don't need to see it our way. They might see it their way. We might see it our way. Say, for an example, whatever the subject is, subject A, we'll say social media. Somebody's talking about social media. They might have their opinion. We might have our opinion. The trick is to be able to get them to see a fourth side. Play devil's advocate. Do whatever you have to do to get them to see a fourth side of the opinion. Look at it from another dimension of thought. It's when you look at it from different angles and tackle those difficult ideas, or play devil's advocate and get them to look at it from the opposite way, that they'll see alternative ways of viewing a topic, and it'll expand their thinking on it. And it might not even help them on that one, but it'll help them in the future make better decisions for themselves and those around them. I'm a firm believer. One of my biggest things in life that I tell people is life is far too short to be guessing what's on everybody's mind. Say what is in your heart. Say it twice. Because if everybody got what was on their chest out there for us to see, sunlight is the best disinfectant. If you get everything out on the table for the world to see, no matter what the subject is, it's out in the open, we can see it. And once it's out in the open and we can see it, it's that much easier to either get over it, get around it, tackle it, and figure out how to get through it, or get the hell away from it. It's until you can see things from every single angle, you can't properly approach it. And I think that being able to take a step back and see it from different angles and see it from different sides lets people expand their thinking, no matter what the topic, whether it's a social economic issue, whether it's deeply personal matters, whether it's something that affects the whole world. There's always a different way to look at it, and looking at it those different ways will benefit every single party when it comes to the outcome of any decision or any mindset.
Thank you for forging your thoughts that way, because I fully resonate with what you said there. And I feel like in listening to you talk about it and hearing another party talk about that, I almost feel like I'm unlocking my own new perspectives over how to have my own perspectives, how to handle my own perspectives. So thank you.
Yeah. I love giving examples. Recently, I was doing a debate with somebody who was screaming at me about same-sex marriages, and I made up a couple down the street from their house, and it actually helped them, and they were like, "Wow, I never looked at it like that." I was like, Tom and Frank are a happily wed couple down at the end of your street. They pay their taxes, they mow their lawn, and everything's good with Tom and Frank. Why does it bother you they live together? Because it's unnatural. And I'm like, well, okay, but Tom and Frank are, they bring food to the potluck on 4th of July. They're, like I said, they pay their taxes. They don't bother you.
They make great conversation. They go home.
They keep their lawn mowed. They pick up their newspaper off the thing. Why does it bother you that they're married? Well, what? Why are you thinking about what's going on in their bedroom? Well, it's just, I'm like, so is it just the sexual part? Yeah. Well, why are you thinking about them having sex? Well, no, it ain't that. I'm like, you see how weird you feel right now? The reason you feel that weird is because it's not rational to think about this. I'm like, if they didn't mow their lawn, you'd have a point. You live in an HOA, I get you. There's something that affecting your life, I get it. But what would that have to do with them being gay? Well, I never thought of that. Well, there you go.
Go ahead and let them have their, marriage, and you go back to your little house over there, friend.
Exactly.
It's
figure out something to be angry at that's in your life, something that's relevant to you.
Something that, might actually make you feel better if you resolve.
Yeah.
Like maybe we unpack why that made you angry in the first place. I don't know.
Well, and once you get rid of the irrational anger you have at one thing, you can try to figure out what the hell made me so angry about that, and then you might learn something about yourself.
Self-reflection and self-mastery are really good tools to have when it comes to just living this world.
And you can't, in my opinion, you can't live a perfectly happy life until you get rid of all the excess baggage that's making you unhappy. And a big part of that is analyzing the things that make you mad in the first place.
Naming those things,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging them, and working on them. And it's not like you worked on them kind of practice and oh everything's hunky dory. No, it's a continuous practice. It's a muscle that you have to continuously work on. It's not.
Every single day that we wake up, every single day is another opportunity to be a better person and a better version of you. Every single day is an evolution of yourself. Every single day is another opportunity to do better in every aspect, really. And I like to think, I do a lot of debates and talks with people. I've been doing them on my cell phone for a whole year instead of going on the computer like I am now with this luscious microphone. But the the one of the things I harp on people, and not harp on them, but try to get them to think about is, at least in the United States, not saying this won't go international, but at least in the United States, because I don't like looking at the international numbers. It's too much to think about. Every single day that we wake up in the United States of America, there is roughly 5,000 people who went to sleep last night who did not wake up this morning. Every single day is another gift. Every single day is another chance. Every single day is another opportunity to do better. There's 5,000 people that didn't get to wake up. Take your opportunity that you've been given, because you know what? If you wake up in the morning, everything after that is a bonus. Do what you got to do to make your life better, and that will in turn make the lives of those around you and those at large better. I think that one of my biggest philosophies in life that I like to follow is something I came up with a long time ago called holes. And, one of the age-old questions that people ask throughout history is, what's the meaning of life? There is no meaning of life, in my opinion, except for what we make of it. And I think that I like to think of holes, this thing I came up with, where you leave the world without any holes. Every single bit that you take away from this world will take something from it. And if you don't add more to it, like if you don't put more positive into this world than you took away, then you leave a hole. And that hole somebody else can fall in the future, or somebody else has to fill it up, or else the hole gets bigger. So if you put in more good energy to this world, if you put in more good deeds, if you leave this world a more positive place behind you, you won't leave a hole. So what's the meaning of life? Don't leave a fucking hole. And that starts with you being happy and you being complete in your own mind.
What? I'm sorry if this gets too personal, but what in your personal world, in your personal life, like what was the moment you decided that you didn't want to leave holes in the world, that you were like, I have to leave good behind?
So I have a past that if I told you, you would either probably, like I did a lot of bad stuff in my life. I was in a gang. Um, it's probably something that's like, even if I told you right now, you'd probably be shocked, but I'm a white guy and I was in a gang, if that tells you anything. Um,
I'm not very street smart. I'm more book smart.
for
If you
many for
feel
many years of my
comfortable,
life, for many years of my life, I was a white nationalist skinhead. When I was 13 years old, this is another reason that social media is dangerous. When I was 13 years old, I was in an AOL chat room, and I was talking about punk rock, and I got a couple people had, you know, told me to listen to this band Screwdriver and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up meeting these people and, got into the skinhead life. Um, Throughout the years, I've kind of figured out I didn't really care about racial aspects of it or anything. I was more of a diehard patriot, and I grew up in an area of Northern California that was a lot of Mexican gangs, and I ended up fighting with them, and I ended up getting really angry for things that didn't make sense. And then later in life, I became a dad. And what did it for me was, to answer your question, what did it for me was seeing the examples of that my daughter left behind. And my daughter was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia when she was 2. And when she was diagnosed, her mom took off on us. She left. My daughter fought that shit like a champ for 3 years, and she passed away July 10th, 2011 at 6:51 in the morning. The examples that my daughter gave in her life, like, she was the sweetest, most amazing little girl. My Bella Monster was the shit. Like, I'd go to smash a spider in the house, and she'd be like, "Dad, no, that's my best friend." And I'd put him outside. Like, she was the cutest, most, like, innocent, amazing spirit I've ever known on this planet. She's the most amazing little girl that's ever existed, and I challenge anybody to that. My crew that I was with, accused me of lying about my daughter being sick and shaving her head so I wouldn't have to hang out. I beat the brakes off of every single one of them. And the patch that I had on my jacket, which is like the thing you get to, it's like the most meaningful thing after you become a member. I still have it. It's in a nightstand. That's my trophy. Fuck them and everybody who looks like them. They don't believe in anything. They're not good people. And that whole movement is not good people. Since then, I've done since not being part of that lifestyle, I've successfully gotten out several people who were in it, a few who I got into it. At least 22 individuals I've gotten out of that lifestyle who were once in it. Several of them are now advocates trying to get people out of that lifestyle and help counsel those who are in it. I've made myself available to those who are perhaps looking to get out of it or looking for, answers, or just honestly, my whole thing is I want to talk to people. There's several videos online I wish weren't online, but there's a lot of these protests and things that have happened over the years where I'm on there because I'll walk up to the front lines where these two sides, whether it be left and right or, Proud Boys and all this stuff, I'll walk up to the line, I'll just start talking to them. And these people are screaming in my face, and I'll just keep talking to them. I'll be at a 3, they're at a 10. And I'll get them to come down to a 3, and then they start listening to me. And a few of those individuals have actually contacted me afterwards and been like, yo, I'm glad you talked to me that day because I haven't seen any of those people in a long time, and I'm doing much better now. But everything with my daughter, everything that my daughter showed me, she was the most amazing soul. And, certain things matter and certain things don't. And she showed me what really does matter. She cared for, the only thing she ever got upset about is if she would be in the art room at the hospital. She was an outpatient at the hospital. And if she went into the art room and there wasn't enough crayons or there wasn't enough supplies for somebody to color with, she'd be like, Dad, can we go to the nurse's station? Be like, yeah. And I'd take her little IV with her because she was getting her treatment and wheel it behind her. And she'd be like, excuse me. And she'd talk to the nurses. She'd be like, there's not enough crayons for everybody if everybody wants to use the crayons at once. Like, she was such a sweetheart. And she showed me what was really important and what wasn't. And every single day that goes by, I love her to death. I miss her so much, but she had an impact on my life I can't begin to describe. The English language doesn't have enough words to describe how much of an impact she had on my life, and she's had on other lives, honestly. I have the words, when you put my knuckles together, the sides of my hands say Bella lives. I have a lot of tattoos, and my hand says Bella lives on them, because that's kind of what I go by now, She inspired me to do better.
Give me just a moment to I hate saying this, especially having gone through grief and stuff myself, but my sincerest and deepest condolences to you, Chadwick. I have not been a parent. I have not been lucky enough to be blessed with being a parent yet. A lot of steps to get there before that happens, but I can't imagine. And the fact that you took that pain and alchemized it into what you're doing to help people and change the world and not leave holes behind. That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that story with me. I'm a little emotional right now because, wow, that's I feel the proper word would probably be grief, but I'm sorry.
Well, it's been difficult. I'm not going to say that I've been the strongest person. It's hard. It's I do grief counseling, or not grief counseling because I'm not a licensed psychologist, but I volunteer and talk to parents of children who are terminally ill and things like that. I volunteer, and I'll never lie to anybody and say, I was strong from the beginning. Bella inspired me. Bella has always inspired me, but I had my time. It's been difficult. It's been hard. I have my moments, and I just got to remember, she's my inspiration. If it wasn't for her, I really think that if it wasn't for my daughter, I'd be in prison or dead. And, she's the whole reason, after I left that group and everything, I was I was looking at schooling and stuff like that, and I had a girlfriend. This is after I finally got my divorce and things, because when her mom took off, I couldn't even find her. I had to hire a private investigator to get my divorce. But I had a girlfriend, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "I'm thinking about going back to school." And Bella came up and like grabbed my arm. She's like, "You're gonna go back to school, Dad?" And she was all excited. And I'm like, "I definitely am now." And so she's what inspired me to go back to school, and yeah, I mean, it's everything that I've been able to do is because of her and her spirit. You know, I'm not a religious person. I actually have strong views on that, which we might get into later. But it's definitely her memory and everything that she taught me. It's a powerful thing.
Now might be a good time, because if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of share my own grief story with you, if that's okay.
Please.
So we have an interesting similarity. My dad, not my biological father scumbag, not my dad, my actual dad, the man who earned the right to be called dad. He was my grandfather, not by blood. He was my grandmother's second husband.
Mm-hmm.
He had several children, one stepdaughter that wasn't his, one daughter, and one son. And in 2011, he left this world due to cancer. So kindly, a big fuck you to cancer and big pharma. But
absolutely fuck cancer.
My dad, he had a really bad past. He moved to Arizona in the 40s. He was born in 1939 in Hermitage, Missouri. His family owned a newspaper out there. And he moved here in 1947 to Phoenix, Arizona, back when there was nothing here. Around the 60s, 70s, during high school, again, it's still the fucking Wild West in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Biker gangs, that kind of thing. My dad was part of it.
I go out there. I go out to Chandler every once in a while for bike week.
My dad was a biker for many, many years before he met my mother. He was part of a brotherhood that isn't around anymore. At least I don't think. I've been trying to find it because I want to find anyone who might have known my dad or might have known people who knew my dad.
I might be able to help you, actually. If you don't mind me asking, what was the name of the club?
Still Crazy Brotherhood.
They used to ride around with the hangman.
Whoa, seriously?
We'll talk off of here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, because it beats hiring a private investigator, since that cost a lot of money.
They used to ride around with the hangman and the Crazy 13 or Wild 13 or whatever they are out there. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk off here.
Oh my god, that name rings so many bells. My mom has stories about that. Anyway, yeah, like my dad, let's just say that as a little kid, I wanted to know more about my dad, and I was always asking thousands upon thousands of questions like I do now, but little kid with no filter, you know how it is. And there were a lot of questions I wanted to know about my dad's past, but both my dad was silent about it. My mom, his friends, his brothers, actual brothers, his younger and older brother, they were like, you don't want to know what your dad's done in the past. Like, if we told you, it would change your viewpoint on your dad. And I'm like, no, the fuck it wouldn't, because that's my fucking dad. He saved my life. Whatever he did in the past is in the fucking past, all right? I know who he is now. But they still wouldn't tell me. And I have suspicion and reason to believe that he should be wearing orange, but isn't, luckily. Or also he couldn't. He's ashes. But, a little bit of humor there to help with this. But, yeah. My dad had done a whole life of so many things. And I admire and respect him because not only did he go from being a crazy wild biker man who did some deeds that you can't come back from, but also, he was a loving father. He loved my mom. Like, he was the best partner to her for 17 years. And I model, like, what I want out of a partnership actually based on kind of what they had. Because even though I don't want exactly what they had, because it's me in my life, but I want that same level of love and respect and compassion that they had for each other. It's a whole thing, but
I get it. I definitely get it.
my dad was a very good man, a very interesting man, a very strong man. And the thing is I never really saw any of that side of him. He'd go to work, he'd come home, we'd go to breakfast sometimes. We had a little song that we'd sing together whenever we went to the dump back when we still had open dumps.
So he was a good dad.
Yeah.
Sounds like he was a good man.
The thing that like I like or not like, but the thing that I took away from that is he didn't really get to be a dad when he was in the biker gangs and stuff. His children, his actual blood children, would tell you he wasn't a good father. But one of the last things he wanted out of his life was the chance to be a good father, because he didn't give himself that. And I can say that he became a really good dad. I kind of wish his natural born children got the experience I did.
It's one of those things that goes back to perspective, like we were talking about. You know, when you talk about someone's life and their legacy, it's difficult to, especially if you're related or especially if you feel jaded for some reason, it's difficult to think about somebody a different way than you've already made a mental image of them. But I'll take me for an example. You know, you emailed me and you one of my nicknames that some people think is humorous and some people think is horrifying is Murder Sprinkles. The reason Murder Sprinkles is the thing is because, you know, I've got over 600 hours of tattooing. You know, I have a mohawk. I got a forked tongue. I work out, and a lot of people think I'm scary looking. And people who've known me in the past, they know I've fought. But I've always said, you know, my mom one time said that I was gonna love my mother to death. I'm a very traditional Italian. My mom was born in Italy. I love my mother to death. She's the most important woman on the planet to me now that my daughter's gone. But those are the two most important women that have ever existed, my daughter and my mom. She said, I wish people could see, and this was during a Thanksgiving dinner too, which was funny. She said, I wish people could see how sweet you are, because you're just like you're like a cupcake wrapped in barbed wire. You just look like the most menacing thing on the planet, but you're like the sweetest thing ever. And a lot of people, so Murder Sprinkles became a thing, but you know, a lot of people who have met me in the past, I did not care about fighting. Fighting was something I did regularly, and I was pretty good at it. Later, I ended up training mixed martial arts, and that actually calmed me down. Training mixed martial arts was a very therapeutic thing for me, where I didn't fight as much, and I actually calmed down a lot. But with your dad, you know, some people are going to judge him off what they know, but they don't really know him. I think a lot of people who knew me in the past, they would say the same kind of thing, where it's like, people who only ever saw that one side of me, they're going to say, oh, you know, Chadwick's the most violent person I've ever met in my life. You know, some guy said this in a bar and he broke his jaw. That's a very unfortunate thing. That's a very unfortunate incident that happened, but there's perspectives of it too. I have a very weird view on life and individuals, where some people say that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but I think that certain people exist for a reason. I don't think that innocent people should ever have to handle situations that are uncontrollable for people who are innocent. Things happen in life, and that's just the way it happens. And your dad, it sounds like when it counts, did the right stuff. It sounds like when it really mattered, and when it was the way to handle it, he handled it the right way. The fact that you remember and you have that memory of you guys singing a special little song, that speaks volumes. That's something that nobody else has, and that's something that, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words, but that just says a lot without saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who would have known me in the past that would say like, oh, that guy, he's a psychopath, or oh, he's this or that. And it's like, there's a lot of times in my life I can think of like where I hit a guy in a bar, but the reason I hit him is because talking to him wasn't working, and he didn't understand talking, or he didn't, it's like he didn't understand human emotions. So well, he understood that punch in the mouth. Um, Never in a million years would they know that I let my daughter paint my toenails one time because she wanted to,
Okay,
or
but what
you
color
know,
did she
I,
paint them?
she wanted to do them green because that was her favorite color.
That is a great color. Good
A very
choice.
specific green, though. A very
Oh,
specific green. It was the lime green that was the same color green as the bow on the green Hello Kitty.
I
It was
don't
like a
think I've
lime green.
seen that bow before. Wait.
She had
Oh, no, I have.
Bella's favorite stuff in the world was cute horror themed or horror themed cuteness. So Bella's favorite thing in the world was she had this. I bought it. I can't even remember. I think I got it at the mall, but it was a Hello Kitty tin that had little breath mints in it, and she didn't like the breath mints. But it was a little Hello Kitty tin that had the green bow, and it had a like a little cutesy skull instead of the circle in the bow. And that was her favorite kind of stuff. Like cute monsters was her favorite thing in the world.
That is
Um,
adorable. I love that. Good tastes.
she she hated Barbie. She loved, what was it? Monster High, Class of Monster High, something like that.
Monster
She
High is
loved
a good
cutesy stuff.
series.
She loved everything cutesy that was also horror themed. Like she was like a little rocker, man. She had a little Slayer vest. She was so cool. Um, Little rocker outfits and stuff. She loved it. Frankenstein was like one of her favorites. Yeah,
Frankenstein. There's a who's I know Franken or not Franken. Sorry, I know Monster High. Like some of the characters. My favorite was the wolf girl. I think her name is not Claudia. Might be
I didn't even
Claudia.
know the
I don't know.
names. I just know she loved the art and she loved the look of it. Like she was so into. She was such a curious and such. So she was 5 years old when she passed, but she was so intelligent. It's ridiculous how intelligent she was because I didn't. I was homeschooling her, and I didn't know curriculum. I was just teaching her what I knew. So like when she was 4, she was already like learning how to do trigonometry because she wanted to.
That's awesome.
Um, and she remembered so much. She only had a babysitter a couple times in her life, and I had an amazing woman named Kayla who was helping me, and sat down with her, and she's like, "What movie are you gonna watch?" This is like one of the first times she came over, and um, she's like, "I want to watch Dawn of the Dead." And Kayla looked at me, and I'm like, "No, that's okay. That's her favorite movie." And she's like, "Okay." So she puts on Dawn of the Dead, the old one, the George Romero film,
The best
and
one.
she puts on Dawn of the Dead. And then Bella sits down with her and holds her hand like she's a little kid and goes, "Okay, now the blood isn't real. The blood is actually corn syrup and chocolate syrup and this, and they wear that, and it's not real." And she's explaining to her how it's not real. And it was the cutest freaking thing in the world. I'm like, oh my god.
You don't even know. This child loves this movie.
Oh, she loved it. She would explain to me the finer points of doing latex appliances on people's faces for special effects. Like she was so curious and so smart. And yeah, she thought the monster makeup and everything horror related was awesome. She loved it.
I'm curious to see what her thoughts would be about some of my more favorite monster movies then. I'll have to
Yeah,
have
she
you
was
channel
awesome.
them for me.
I bet you if I saw it or knew what it was, I could probably tell you exactly what she would say. One of her big things is she'd always pat me on the arm when she would see a new monster in a movie, and she'd go, "Ooh!" And I'd be like, "What?" And she's like, "How do you think they did that? Is that practical or special effects?" I'm like, "Well, it's all special effects, but it's not computer." She's like, "I love practical."
Um, One of my favorite horror movies, I think my dad actually got it as a DVD for me when we went to Circle K one time because Circle K used to sell DVDs in a little bin. I don't know if you remember
In the
that.
bins, yeah, like the
Yeah.
$2 bins.
Yeah. And,
We never had Circle K, but we had Walmart that did the same thing.
mm, and, I got this horror movie. It was called The Breed. I was super into werewolves at the time.
Okay,
It's not a bad movie. I rewatched it about 5 or 10 years ago, but it's definitely a budget rated movie. I love B
hmm,
movies. B horror is, it has my heart and soul. I'm attached to B horror.
me too.
What's your favorite B horror movie that you can never
My
stop watching?
that I can never stop watching.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I mean, I'd have to. It's not necessarily B, but I'd have to say Army of Dark or Evil Dead 2.
Okay. All right.
Super low budget, practical effects, funnier than hell. As far as a B movie, I'd have to say Street Trash or The Stuff. It's pretty good.
I think The Stuff is on my to be watched. I haven't heard of Street Trash.
Street Trash is as low budget as it gets, and you'll definitely appreciate it when you see it because it's so bad it's good.
I will add it to my notes.
And if you like werewolf movies, I would like to make a suggestion to you.
By all means.
In my opinion, the best werewolf movie that's ever been made, by far, is called Dog Soldiers.
Oh?
Dog Soldiers, you have to see it to believe it. Every other werewolf movie that's ever been made, it has a lot of build up, a lot of it. No, this one, you just immediately get thrown into, holy crap, this is amazing. And it stays that energy for the entire movie. All practical effects, there's no CGI whatsoever.
Okay, that's dope.
And the monsters, the werewolves, are the best I've ever seen in any werewolf movie, and they're legitimately... If you were there, you would be legitimately concerned.
What is the name of it again?
Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers. Okay.
It might even be on YouTube, actually.
I need to upgrade my not my soldier. I was reading the word. I was typing. I need to upgrade my YouTube because I am getting so tired of ads. I'm so tired.
Oh my god! People tell me I'm so sick of ads, and honestly, the ads make me angry because of what the companies are and everything. I'm sitting here telling myself in my head while I'm watching these videos, like, okay, it looks like I'm never buying from you. Like, I get mad at the company. One of them, and I think it's just because Christmas is coming, I've had this same ad playing for this knife company that's like, you get 5 badass knives for the price of 1. And in my head, I'm thinking, you're saying they're homemade, you're pretending they're made in America, they're made in China, these knives suck, I know they suck, they're made by this brand, and I'm like sitting here arguing with the commercial in my head while I'm waiting for the opportunity to clear the commercial. I'm so angry. I hate it.
I got the joy and pleasure of witnessing the Coca-Cola Christmas commercial for this year. It's the worst piece
I'm a
of
Pepsi guy.
I don't really drink soda. It is the worst piece of crap commercial I have ever seen in my life. It is definitely 100%, and they're not hiding it at all, done with AI. Not a single soul looked over it because you can tell with the way the penguins are clipping and chopping all around, and I'm like...
Oh no. Is it like the one they made years ago with the train or the truck going through the town and stuff?
It might be the same one.
There was an animated one they made several years ago, and I think they redid it with AI, and I think I saw a clip of it, and it looked terrible. Like, people's hands are disappearing into their sides and things like that.
How do they greenlit that? How do they spend so much damn money on advertising and then like, this looks good, or actually, you know what, push it through. It needs to be out.
You know why? Because it's one of the drawbacks with AI. It's making people lazy. One of the lazy things about it is people are going to consider something good. Look at AI music. A lot of people are pushing AI music, and yeah, it can be fun. You can make certain stuff with it, but you listen to enough AI music, like song after song, it sounds good. But then you put on a real song, you put on a song recorded in a studio, and you're like, oh my god, why is it so loud? Well, it's huge. It sounds like it's enormous. And the reason it sounds like it's enormous is because you actually have real music. You become complacent in what the AI is giving you instead of realizing what it could be in reality. Or with reality, I should say.
There's a few AI songs that I like. I hate admitting that because, like, I know AI music isn't that great. I know that. I objectively know it's not that great, but goldfish swimming in a lava lamp, come on now, that's pretty funny. We're just two goldfish swimming in a lava lamp. I'll be fine if I hold your... do you have Spotify?
No.
I will find it on YouTube and send it to you.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. Everything makes it to every platform at some point or another.
I don't do much online. Like I said, it's been a slow roll for me to get into the whole world of social media and all these programs. I still haven't had, like, people laugh at me, but I have a television, and the TV that I have on my wall, all it's playing is my CCTV. It's not playing because I have cameras outside it. I haven't had a cable service or any kind of Netflix or I've never had Netflix. I've never had anything like that. I don't sign up for online anything. I don't even buy things online. I've never had my credit card. Or I don't even have a credit card. I have my debit card, but because I don't believe in fake money. But another thing that people find weird about me. But I
Now,
don't connect my debit card with online. I just hate that crap. I hate it. It's
so
too
wait,
much risk of issue.
let's reel that back. Did you say you don't have a credit card?
No, I've never had a credit card.
Never. Never
I don't believe
ever.
in fake money. I don't believe in fake money. I don't lease anything. I have everything that I own. I own. I don't owe money on anything.
You can't see me right now, but I do have my camera on, so if you somehow manage to watch this episode with your voice on it, I
Hmm.
don't know if you are going to, but I am currently praising you because I have so many people who have looked at me and are like, Mars, you gotta get a credit card. You gotta get a credit card. No, the fuck, I do not. If I cannot run a business, own property, or do any of that shit with a credit, like without a credit card, I don't need
Hmm.
it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I have a debit card, and the debit card takes money out of my account, which I know I have because I worked for it. I've never had fake money. I don't believe in fake money. I have a brother that's 3 years older than me, and he might have some nice things, but he doesn't own any of it. He owes $30,000 on a truck that's ridiculously expensive. I have two Harley Davidsons, a truck, a car. I own all of it.
I
You know,
absolutely.
my only monthly expenses are my rent, my cell phone, and I pay for my insurance every year. So everything I own, I own. I don't owe on any of it, and I think it's another reason I don't even like crypto. People talk about crypto, I'm like it's fake money. There's nothing behind it. I don't believe in it, and people are like, oh, you're just being left behind. I'm like, no, I just know what reality is, and people call me pessimistic, but I just don't see it. You know,
You're the kind of person that if you can't hold it in your hands and verify that it is real and bona fide, then you
I
don't
like
want anything
tangible
dealing.
reality.
Yeah. I That's like my biggest problem is I'm significantly, I'm not, I don't know if significantly is the right word. I'm younger than you, obviously. Like,
Oh, thanks.
hey, age is but a number, especially when you don't feel it. And let me tell you, I think this is like the first time in my life I feel any close to an actual like solidified age instead of being like, yeah, I have no idea how old I feel. But
I forget that I was born in '85 because it's like, for one, I don't look it. I'm very Italian, so I look like I'm like in my late 20s. And two, I'm such a goofy bastard that it's like I'm always hopping around and jumping around. People are like, "Good God, how old are you?" Because I act like I'm freaking 15 sometimes.
do you
Not
get
as far as maturity, but as far as like me being nimble and things like that.
when was the last time you were carded?
When was the last time I was carded?
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy alcohol much because I don't drink alone. But last time I bought a bottle of wine for Thanksgiving to go to my parents' house.
Wow. Nice.
I haven't been anywhere that needed me to get carded. I get carded every time I buy anything,
I see. I see. Nice.
and I don't smoke, so it's not like I get carded for cigarettes or anything because I don't smoke. I've never smoked, but
Your
yeah,
lifestyle intrigues me. You have a lot of interesting. See, I I hate that I like perspective and I hate that I like people's lives so much because I'm always like asking questions and I'm figuring out how people live their lives because like that interests me. Like I know how I'm going to live my life. I
didn't
know
hate that.
how.
Being curious is a good thing.
Yeah, but then I'm like examining people's lives and I'm like, that sounds like a really nice way to live. How would I implement their way of living into my way of living?
That's fine though. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is if somebody else is implementing their opinion on you and you don't necessarily want it, but you feel like you need it. See, always be curious, but never be in a hurry to drink their Kool-Aid.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can take tidbits from other people's lives that you might not have considered for yourself and thought, huh, that's an interesting thing. I like that. I might try to implement some of that myself. But if you're ever being forced to do it or if you're ever feeling obligated, then it's not healthy.
Interesting. Okay. I like that perspective. I like that phrasing of words. If it's
There's
not
many a
healthy.
times I've seen somebody's, the way they handle certain things. I'm like, oh, that's a way to think about it. Never thought of that. And then maybe even subconsciously, without knowing, I start implementing little things that get me to do something similar because it's more favorable. And that's a choice I made.
Now, you said you didn't believe in, like, or not. I don't want to actually say that. I don't want to put words in your mouth. What are your thoughts about religion? We were talking a little bit about that earlier, kind of.
So for me, my thoughts on, because I've studied religion extensively. I've read 3 different versions of the Bible. I've read the Quran. I've read a good chunk of the Talmud. I've read the Jehovah's Witness Bible, and I've studied religion at length, and I've done a lot of discussions. I take part in debate and discussion. For me, organized religion and religion as a whole, whether it be one of the big five, one of the big six, or the pagan religions, nothing in the history of humanity, nothing in the history of our species has impacted and affected us and everything around us. Nothing has inflected as much impact on our species as religion has. It has 100% had the most to do with our development and our decline throughout history. It's undeniable that religion itself, in any form, in any way, has definitely affected us more than anything, whether it be good or bad. It has built societies. It built and destroyed civilizations, and in the past, it has had the ability to lift us up from nothing and bring us to something better, and it also has had the potential to completely ruin us. I think that at a time, it was beneficial for us to, and it's even in certain religious doctrine that the evidence is there to show that this is the way it is that it was there to simplify certain things, and give answers to certain questions that were very difficult to comprehend. But as technology has advanced, as our understanding of the world around us has advanced, and as basically life sciences have advanced, it's become unnecessary and obsolete, in my own opinion. I am 100% firmly a believer that if someone's personal religion helps them be a better person or comforts them in some way, and it doesn't harm anyone else, 100% do it. Do it twice. I love it. Whatever you gotta do, I'm all for it. I would never tell anyone they can't practice or they shouldn't practice their religion. However, I've seen a gross negative on us as a species because of it in the current times, and I find it to be a hindrance on our advancement.
A hindrance on human advancement. I could agree to those terms, and I'll tell you why. Been watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, or rewatching it rather.
You like TNG?
Very much so. Picard is one of my favorite fictional mentors.
You're amazing. Marry me. Voyager can suck it.
I am going to end up watching that one at some point, and I can already tell you, just based on how much people love it and other stuff, I'm not going to like it.
My dad, when I was growing up, my dad loved The Next Generation, and when Voyager came out, he saw like 2 episodes of it, and he's like, this sucks. And I was like, yeah, it sucks.
Voyager has which captain?
I don't even know her name. It was a woman. I can't remember her name.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't like it.
There's actually a few people that have told me I'm probably not going to like it either, because it's not because of the woman aspect. Now, let's be clear there.
Not because of the female aspect. It was because it was terrible. The stories are bad.
They didn't give enough to the story itself. It was just like,
and it doesn't build to the action. That's one of the things that Voyager really sucked at, is that the action would just happen, but there wouldn't be any kind of story behind it. It would just be like, oh, someone's aboard the ship. There's like nothing to it. It's like The Next Generation, you'd be like, yo, Riker, get up there. He's in trouble. What? There's character development. There's actually, you'd be interested in the story. You'd be invested in it.
Even Q had development in a way.
Q is such an amazing... Q is talking about religion, segue. Q is actually a very interesting character because Q has been an avatar almost for certain religious figures, as people have pointed out in different philosophy circles.
Explain.
There's especially in like the later depictions of Q, like in the movies and stuff, he has strange amounts of like powers and like weird things that he can do that are never properly explained. And people have put their own 2 cents in, saying that he's almost uh some people have even posited he would take place as like a god figure, or he would take place as like a creator figure, like he just appears when people need him, kind of a thing. I don't know. That's like a whole deep dive I would have to kind of go into, but he's a very interesting character because he does seem to always pop up when he's least expected, or people need him, or it's just completely random. But then he ends up doing something meaningful. It's a very strange character. He's written very, very interestingly.
I like Q, and then last night I just watched the episode where Niblium was fucking with the Enterprise. The
Hmm.
black hole of void that took a lot of work to or construct itself to look like humans and speak to them.
Hmm.
I kind of like Niblium a little bit more than Q. Now here's why, and I need to watch more with Q. But Q is chaos, like low-key energy. If you think of
Hmm.
like pagan god, like chaos, like controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Niblium is just absolute chaos and power. Niblium was unpredictable entirely. With Q, you can kind of predict and be like, huh, okay, Q is self-interested, but he's not gonna like kill us all. Niblium would. It's an
Hmm.
immense amount of power, and the reason I like it is because it terrifies me.
Absolute chaos versus controlled chaos.
Yes. I like it because it terrifies me, and I don't mind being scared because that gets me to think. Being
Right.
scared makes me think. If I'm not thinking, I hate it when my mind goes still. Like, I don't mind it, it's necessary, but holy crap, when it's just silent in there compared to like me creating or plotting or planning or organizing, I'm just like, my brain can do this?
When my brain goes silent, it automatically defaults to things I haven't researched that I want to, and that's usually why I wouldn't be able to sleep in the future, also, or in the past. Um,
That's a subject we haven't broached yet.
Not yet, but with the religion, also, I should have added this. I'm sorry to circle back to that.
No, go ahead.
Um, One thing I didn't say is the whole benefit to why I don't think it's beneficial and everything. One of the things I also think it does, and one of the major things that is bad about it, is it encourages people to remain ignorant about certain things and deny realities. Is one of the things that I think is a big problem. It encourages people to deny certain problem solving skills that they would otherwise have and they would otherwise acknowledge. So that's another big issue I see with it.
Keeps them stagnant in their own prognosis.
Correct. They'll read a certain doctrine of a religion and say like, oh well, here's this part here. There's the entire ethos of my belief system is this book, and they'll read in the book that it says this thing that is not possible, or obviously not the way things are in presentable reality. But then they'll say, oh, but you know what? Even though it doesn't present this way, and even though it's obviously not this way, I'm just going to choose to believe that. So it encourages willful ignorance, and I don't like that.
Now, it's been a while since I've done any like actual religious texts readings. Maybe you'll know this answer better than I will, but isn't there like a religion that denies the science of archaeology, like dinosaur bones and stuff?
I mean, Christianity.
Interesting.
There's there's over 33,000 different denominations of Christianity, but fundamentalist Christians, who are the ones who believe like the Bible is 100% literal from start to finish. There's nothing in the Bible that ever talks about dinosaurs. Um, they will Certain ones will, there's a thing called apologetics. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes.
So apologists will, their whole job, the whole reason they exist, is to take things in the Bible that doesn't make sense and try to make sense of it to explain why it's real. They will take things like the description of a hippo in the Bible and claim that it's a dinosaur when it's not. But the Bible also talks about dragons being real. So the large majority of fundamental Christians out there, if not all of them that I've debated with, all thinks dragons are a real thing. They think fire-breathing dragons actually existed.
Interesting.
It's yeah, it's if they were a superhero, they would be summoned by the batshit signal. um, but just things that I and others would see as being so ridiculous, and just contradictions in the book and everything else. Um, the contradictions and the obvious, for me, the morality part of it is like one of the biggest things. Is everything that my daughter went through, and then I've had many debates with people when they're, not to get too into the weeds about religion and things, but I've done debates with a lot of people who say, how can you be against this? How can you be against that? How can you not believe in this? I'm like, well, check it out. If everything in that book was true and it was literal, then that means that your God decided that my daughter needed to be tortured with cancer. Now, why do you worship and praise such a being that would have done that to my daughter? And they got nothing.
That's actually one of my biggest. I love that you said that. Thank you so much. Because the reason I even got into philosophy and religion as a 6, 7, 8, 9, 27-year-old, that's how long I've been studying this, since I was 6. So 20 something years. I don't know. Anyway, I had a hard time with Christianity when I first started practicing and studying and learning about that, because I was like, if God is all loving and all powerful and he can make all of these miracles, and he like, if it's a man sitting on a cloud doing this shit, he's doing a really bad job, because why would he allow a child to lose their innocence due to rape and drugs? And like, why would he allow other children to go through that? Why would he allow women to be beaten within an inch of their life? Like, that didn't sit well with me. I was like, I don't like that, so I'm going to keep searching.
Well, yeah. And all apologetics that say that it's not God, it's Satan, it all falls flat. It's because the book says that it was God. I don't. Once again, I don't believe in the God of the Bible, but the Bible straight up says that God created Satan, and God is responsible. The shit that happened to Job. God is the one that gave Satan the power to do it. He told him to do it. And Isaiah 45:7. I am the Lord thy God. I create the light. I create the darkness. I am good and I cause evil. I am the Lord thy God. I cause all of these things. Isaiah 45:7. The book straight up says that God is the cause of all evil. So it's, it just goes back on that thing. Anybody who says that book says that God is all good didn't read the book.
The way that I see it, and this is like why I must have been 7 or 8 when I landed firmly on this belief that still stands true for me today. People will believe what they know is true for themselves. I wasn't there. If someone said they saw God, great. I didn't see him. You saw him. What was your experience? I'm not going to discredit it because I don't have your eyeballs, but I am going to be slightly suspicious and side-eye you until I see something myself. People believe what they know is true.
Right. And that's why I say, if it helps somebody feel better and more comforted, then all power to them. There's many parents that I've talked to.
Don't shove it down my throat. Don't tell me that my beliefs are wrong because you can't see my perspective.
And that's where the America kind of freedom aspect of it is your freedoms and your rights are 100% valid until they trample somebody else's rights, and then they're a problem. You have the freedom to believe whatever you want to believe, but don't tell me I have to believe in your belief, or don't judge me because I believe differently, and I won't judge you because you believe differently. You should never force your belief system on someone else as long as their belief system isn't hurting you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think freedom and free will are two different things?
Yes.
I do too. Why do you think that?
Free will also gives you the choice. Free will is a choice. And I mean, just basically breaking down the words, there's 1,000 different meanings to freedom and there's 1,000 different meanings to free will in what context. But having the ability to do something, like I can move my arm, like right now I'm twisting my hand from side to side. I guess I'd have to think about it for a minute to figure out the best way to describe it, but
I have a way to describe it that might help.
please do.
Free will is a choice. Or no, freedom is a choice. Free will is something that you are already given. Freedom is the intention of free will, if that makes sense.
It does. I like that.
I kind of landed on that while you were talking about it, and like how free will is. I was like, I think I just figured out how to explain that, so I give you credit for that one. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good one.
And we can definitely circle back to in the future to this topic, no matter anything we talk about here, we can talk about wherever. Or
free will is another big problem with the religion thing too. Free will is especially with the Abrahamic religions, which is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and all its brothers and sisters. Christians will tell you up and down, oh well, God gave you free will, but the Bible also says that God knew you from before you were in the womb, and every single thing that will ever happen on this planet, that like any action, good, bad, evil, everything is already, you lifting a finger, God knew when that was going to happen. He already decided it. Free will does not exist if he already knows how it's going to end. If he already wrote down how the character is going to act, that's not free will. That's you acting out as an NPC. So not only does it not make sense, but that makes you powerless. And I don't believe in it, but I don't know how anybody would be able to believe, worship, follow, and preach a doctrine where they are powerless. I think that's self-defeating and sad.
This is an interesting one for religion for you, and I haven't really gotten to talk a lot about it at length because if I do, I know I'm going to get some weird comments and some weird stares and this, that, and the third.
Well, you're talking to me, and one of the things that I pride myself on is I like talking about the things that people say you're not supposed to talk about, like politics and religion.
Same. My intention when talking about those things is never to get mad. It's never to point my finger at you and be like, your opinion is bull. It's to digress. It's to figure things out. It's to
expand thought. It is to forge thought.
Yes, it is. That is always my intention when bringing these subjects up. So I feel safe talking about it with you. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. When I was studying philosophy and theology, I, of course, ended up landing on Satanism at one point, and there are a few different types of Satanism. There's the cultish, sacrificing lambs and children kind of Satanism, and then there's the
there's Levian Satanism.
Yes, there's
atheistic,
and I ended up landing on Levian, I actually believe, and there's a quote that I still stick with today, and it's gonna sound bad if you don't have the teachings, but
I have the Satanic Bible right here.
But
like I said, I've studied all this at length.
One of the teachings, there is a sentence, a commandment, where it says, people are God. God is not God. People are God. Like we ourselves are God. And I started thinking about that and reflecting on that, and I'm like, no, wait, hold on. If Christianity says that we're made in the image of God, or God made us in his image, all-powerful, omniscient, all-seeing, whatever, and Satanism is saying that humans are God, not in like a selfish, like, you have the power to control and destroy, but like, you have self-power, you have self-agency.
Right. Anton LaVey wanted people to believe in themselves and empower themselves.
Yes, to better themselves, better their families, better their communities, better the planet. It wasn't about selfishness. It was about, I don't even really want to say self-righteousness. I think it was...
It was about not giving up your power to give it to some other entity.
Yes.
It was about believing in yourself and empowering yourself with everything that you can be.
Yes, that's my takeaway from that back in the day. And that's why when people are like, Satanism's bad, I hold my tongue, because I'm like... You don't know what I know. If only you read the things I've read, you'd understand that there's more to the story.
So people find LaVey to be a kook because he kind of was. But the reason he was is because he saw organized Christianity as such a dog and pony show. He saw it as a ridiculous spectacle of theater. Now, this is a man who used to work in the circus. That's why he owned a pet lion, is because he was a lion tamer in the circus. It wasn't because he broke into the zoo or any of the other crazy crap that people talked about. Anton LaVey saw how ridiculous certain aspects of Catholicism was in their show that they would put on. So he said, okay, they're going to do that. I'm going to create something called the Black Mass. So he dressed up like a goofball with horns and this devil outfit that you could buy at Spirit Halloween store. I mean, not back then, but now you could. And he put on this thing called the Black Mass, which was just a show. It was all fake. He did not believe in, and none of the Church of Satan, which is what his organization was, none of the Church of Satan out of San Francisco or, worldwide believed in an actual creature, character, deity named Satan or the devil or whatever. They didn't believe in it. They were atheistic. But he believed in self-empowerment. He believed in taking the energy you would give up to something, like God, and bringing it in and being like, look, everything having to do with Christianity, that's in you. All this power that you would give something else, that's you. You have this ability. You're not giving it up to somebody else. That's you. You have this power. And that's one of the things, like, I know a lot of individuals from the Satanic Church, or from the Church of Satan. It's one of the things that they'll all tell you is like, no, if somebody does good, if somebody else, like, if you beat cancer, or if you beat, you quit, somebody who quits drinking alcohol and they've been fighting it for years, if they quit drinking alcohol, why would you give that to a higher power? That was you. You have that power within yourself. You motivated yourself. You did it. Take pride in that.
You're the
Whereas
one
the
that
Christian
beat
church
with your
would
own
tell
monsters.
you that's a problem. Yeah, the Christian church would tell you that's a problem. You're not allowed to be proud of yourself. It wasn't you, it was God.
Excessive
and
pride
I
is
think
a
that's
bad
incredibly
thing.
manipulative. What's that?
Excessive pride is a bad thing, but actual, like, pride that gives you that, I did a good job, or damn, I survived that, like, that is okay. Like,
Well, according to Christianity, that's not even okay, because you're supposed to give all glory to God.
yeah, well, fuck that shit. That sounds stupid.
And that's one of the big, that's one of the things I don't like about it the most is its control. It's taking power over people. A lot of the church was to a lot of the main, not just talking about Christianity, but a lot of religion, it has been put in place to control the lesser, the people who are doing, throughout history, the most educated people at one time were those who would be in the top of the religious class just because they had the books and everything. And they would basically talk down to the people who had lesser than them to control them. One of my favorite examples to give is like the food laws. When people were dying left and right because they were getting sick from food, what was making them sick? Well, the people who were educated were like, well, it's probably the food they're eating. What are they eating?
Moldy
They're
bread.
eating bottom-feeding fish. They're eating the fish that feed off the bottom, like catfish, who are eating all the dead bodies we throw into this river and all the muck that's at the bottom. And then they're eating pigs, which are eating the dead bodies and all the nastiness is in there. Okay, let's tell them that God tells them you're not supposed to eat pigs or fish that feed off the bottom. Perfect. And that's where food laws came from.
And instead of teaching people how to clean their fish or their pigs,
Exactly.
or live in, like, not live, but, like, have cleaner environments and where you, like, rear your animals and respect your animals. Wow.
Yeah. And they just said, well, God did it. God said that. And they say, well, why should we tell you, we like pig. Why shouldn't we eat pig? Well, God says so.
No, you just don't want your people to die because you haven't given them the proper tools.
Yep. And, like the Bible's full of that kind of stuff. Things that were obviously written down by man, but later claimed to be by some divinative power.
There's
a passage.
Go ahead.
There's a passage in Deuteronomy that says, I forget the exact quote and what number it is, but if a neighbor is fighting with another neighbor, like two dudes are fighting, and one of the neighbors runs over, or excuse me, one of the neighbor's wives runs over to grab the neighbor that's fighting with her husband, if she grabs him by the dick, then that woman should have her hand cut off. Tell me that wasn't written by some dude who got his junk grabbed by somebody's wife. That wasn't a god. They say that was some god that said that.
In other
It's
words,
ridiculous.
this man got embarrassed because his manhood
He got
got grabbed.
embarrassed because somebody's wife grabbed him by the junk and like started ripping his shit off. And he got embarrassed. And then later he said, well, I need to tell them it's because God says not to do it.
Shame is a hell of a drug. Makes you do some weird shit.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a...
Sorry, I should have muted for that. I'm eating an orange.
You're fine. It's that's like one of the things I'm trying to train myself to do, and that's okay, especially if I ever want to have a studio with also a kitchen concept, so people who like cooking can be like, look what I made, and we could be like, let's try it for the show.
Oh, we'd be there all day. I'm a cooking motherfucker.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Ooh, my favorite thing to make, it's just very time consuming and difficult to show others because they get bored, is making your own ravioli.
I love homemade ravioli. I've had it exactly one time, and
I'll
Italian
feed you, baby bird.
Italian food, I have such a hard, like, I was about to say hard on for it, but that's insensitive. I'm in love with Italian food.
Well, no, it's not insensitive. I understand what you mean because I feel the same way.
It's
All my
okay.
nanny's recipes I know how to make, even her tiramisu.
With the actual espresso.
With the actual espresso, and I actually do the proper bottom, not the lady fingers.
I love that you love your culture so much to actually celebrate it and not do it half-assed. Thank you.
Of course. My mom was born in Italy. Non se lavorando oggi.
My mother, I unfortunately had to go no contact, so as much as I love her, it was just safer for us both if I wasn't in the picture. She's the one who taught me my love for Italian cooking, because my mom also my love for cooking, but opinions on pasta left overnight and eaten the next day.
With the sauce already on or not?
Yes.
What do you mean? What's wrong with it?
I've had people tell me that Italian food is not better the second day. They're wrong. You make
I'm not gonna say it's better, but depending on which one it is, you just got to reheat it the right way.
Yes, exactly. When you have the right pasta or like the right sauce and you eat it the night before, and like the night that you cook it, and then you put it away and you let it sit with all of its juices and flavors, it then absorbs into the noodles. It's like the one food you can actually get me to eat leftovers of every single time without fail is pasta, or Italian pasta.
I don't do any cream sauces. I think they're gross. I do all red sauce.
Smart.
And yeah. And one of the tricks, if anybody ever has pasta the next day that's not good, then try microwaving it with a wet paper towel over the top of it instead of just a regular paper towel or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it should taste the same or a little bit more. Like the al dente will be gone, and it'll be a little bit more, a little softer. All the flavors will be more combined with each other, so it shouldn't be worse. It should just be the same or a little bit more flavorful.
What kind of cheeses do you stuff your ravioli with?
Manicotti and ricotta.
Nice. Please send me your recipes.
Sorry, American. Ricotta.
No, please do not. Do not diminish yourself, especially if you can do it properly.
So this last one I did seasoned beef that I do, and I did ricotta and basil. I'm actually
basil.
first generation American. My mom was born in Italy, and my father is from the Isle of Man.
Whoa.
And me and my brother are both first generation American.
So you have the actual, like, grassroots from Italy in you still.
Yeah. And it's one of the beneficial things as far as me being curious about everything, because I hate to say this and it sounds terrible, but a lot of I'm American. I'm a damn proud American, but a lot of American culture, I
We
feel
don't
like the
have any.
education and well, the thing is we do, but it's lazy. It's very self-centered. A lot of American education system is lacking because world history is definitely lacking. But they're very self-interested, and I feel like having parents who are both immigrants has definitely helped me as far as being curious and given me a different perspective on certain things. Um, and people talk about, all the time I'm hearing people talk about, well, that's fascist. This is fascist. I'm like, well, I might happen to know a few things about that. Let me talk to you about fascism. And, up until about a year ago, I could call my grandpa if I needed to know about fascism because he was a fascist at one time. And not at the time, nothing was inherently necessarily bad about it until the end of World War II, and then it became a problem.
You have a lot of walking history stories, don't you?
A lot of what?
Walking history stories, like stories you got to hear just through history, but like from
Oh,
someone who
absolutely.
actually lived it.
Definitely. Yeah.
I love stories like that. My mother figure told me about the time that she was in school when Kennedy got assassinated. She got to hear it televised. That was
That's
wow.
one of the biggest things that happened for that generation. In fact, I use that reference a lot when what year were you born, if I may ask?
The year I was born,
Yeah.
98.
Okay, so you probably don't remember, but there's people who I talk to online. And like I said, I haven't even done it professionally with my microphone and everything, but I've been talking to my cell phone for about a year, and I'll join chats and stuff with people who say, I'll talk about 9/11, and they're like, "Oh, I don't remember that. I was too young." And I'm like, "Well, how old are you?" And they're like, "Well, I wasn't born for another 3 years after that." And it's like, what the fuck? But they don't remember that, and it's like, I wonder what that generation's 9/11 will be, and people in the generation before mine will say, "I wonder what this generation's JFK will be, or Challenger will be," because certain generations, like I remember exactly where I was when the towers went down. There's people before me who remember where they were when the Challenger blew up. There's people before that who remember exactly where they were when JFK was shot. Every generation has their defining thing from that group of people, that age group. That was like a tragedy or a horrific thing that happened. That I'm not going to say united, but that people of that age group can remember and kind of be like, holy shit. Um, a generational defining moment kind of a thing.
A moment that everyone has at least one story of where they were at on the day that it
Yeah.
happened.
A lot of people describe it as, the first time you were truly shocked. Um, I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but
I get what you're saying. Um, let's see. I guess what was your big event then that shocked you?
I mean, when 9/11 happened, it was pretty damn shocking. Um,
Where were you
hold on a
at the
second, I
time?
recall.
Go ahead.
So when 9/11 happened, I was a sophomore in high school. Um, it was 5:30 in the morning. This is California time. My girlfriend at the time was in the hospital getting her appendix removed, and the house phone rang because back then we had house phones.
I miss house
But the
phones.
house phone rang, and my parents were pissed because it woke them up. And they're like, "What the fuck, Chad? It's Amy." So I run to the front room, grab the phone, go in my room with it, and I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "We're under attack." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "We're under fucking attack. Turn on the TV." It's 5:30 in the morning, so I turn on the TV. Every single channel was playing the smoke coming from the towers, and I was like, "What the shit?" And when I turned on the TV, I think it was right. It was either right as or right after. I think it was right after the second plane hit, and my girlfriend was freaking out, calling me, and I yelled at my mom. I'm like, "Hey, turn on your TV," because they had a TV in the room, and she's like, "What? I'm sleeping." And I'm like, "Turn on the fucking TV." And then came the next half hour. We're trying to figure out, like, well, or next couple hours, like, am I even going to school? What the fuck's going on? Because there was a big thing. Nobody knew if we were going to school. Nobody knew what was going on. Um, and then, yeah, that's where I was. I was in my living room in my PJs, wondering what the hell was going on, just shocked. And then I remember watching one of the news clips. They didn't cut away quick enough, and you saw somebody get pretty close to the ground when they jumped. That was pretty eye opening.
Hmm. I wonder how
I
much.
mean, at the time.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wonder how much like that event alone influenced how legacy media and other media like ended up portraying stuff. Like, did new regulations get started because of that? Besides the TSA?
I think it was before that. I think it was before that because the TSA definitely was because of that, but I think the whole media portrayal of stuff was definitely before that because they did their best to cut away from certain things, and I remember censorship being pretty extreme before that as well. I've seen a few incidents. I think it was before. In fact, I know it was before 9/11. There was a car chase on TV, and the news was following the car, and then the guy got out of the car and shot himself in the head. And the reporter was like almost crying on TV because he couldn't believe that they didn't cut away in time. So I know that they definitely had things on TV that were supposed to be censored before that. I think that honestly, I think 9/11 was a turning point in our media. That was obviously the whole event was negative, but I think as far as media manipulation, I think was a huge turning point where the media figured out like, hey, we can milk this for all it's worth, and that was a big shift in television stations and just news media in general, going away from what was news reports and focusing on human interest stories to manipulate people's emotions. So I think that's one thing that happened.
Yeah, my emotions definitely feel manipulated by media sometimes, especially that one lovely ASPCA commercial with the "In the Arms of an Angel" by Sarah McLachlan.
Arms of the Angels. God, I hate that commercial.
I used to cry every time, and then at one point I felt bad because I stopped crying, but then I'm like, I know what this is now, so like...
There's that one, and there's another one with a little puppy in the rain, and I forget the song they played for that one, but that one's horrible too.
Oh God, I know the one you're talking about. No!
I'd get home from school and see that commercial and be like, I'm coming, buddy.
Oh God, I love TV, but I also hate TV because of shit like that.
Right. One example that I can point to, and it's on TV now. I mean, there's a. Have you ever heard of the organization UNICEF?
Oh no.
So UNICEF they're the ones that collect. I don't know if they still do it at schools anymore, but when I was in elementary school, there'd be these little boxes, like little. They almost look like almost like takeout trays. But they're little boxes you could shove pennies into and shove change into, and they would collect money, where they would show commercials on TV. Of children in Africa or children in Borneo, all these places where children are starving. And they are playing recently on YouTube, like within the last several weeks, I saw a commercial for UNICEF where they're showing video of the same children. It's the same commercial. It's the same children that they showed when I was in the 3rd grade. And they showed us this commercial for us to start collecting for UNICEF. It's the same commercial with the same kids.
Well,
It's like all they did was turn up the saturation on the video. It's the exact same video. And it's like, these kids need your help. It's like, that kid's probably dead. Or a grandpa.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's like... Those commercials growing up are exactly one of the reasons why when I was like, when I grow up and I start making my money through my books and my writing... My donations are actually going to go to people I can verify the donations went to.
And that's smart.
Because
that's very smart.
Screw you for making me think I'm helping people. I'm actually wanting to help people. Don't take that from me.
One of the things I always say, I never ever donate at, grocery stores when they're like, will you round up 40 cents for this? Or at Taco Bowl, when, I don't eat fast food a lot, but when they're like, will you round up 60 cents to send to the children's hospital? No. Nobody should ever do that. Do not say yes. If you want to give the hospital money, send the hospital your money, because if a company does that, they're not giving 100% of the profits to the charity they're talking about. They're taking a cut. Just give your money to the charity itself. It's smart not to do that. If you're ever wanting to give your money to an organization, just send them your money. Don't do it through a third party ever.
The way that I want to frame that and how I frame that for myself when it comes to like donating things is I try to make sure it gets donated to the actual source. And if I can call the place, like the place I'm trying to donate to, and I can't get like an actual human being or like a way that's concrete to donate, I feel bad about it, but I'm like, I want to make sure these are going to the right people. Like,
Right.
I work for this money. I want to choose where this money goes. Like, my choice
My
is
daughter and
the
everything.
people.
Mhm. My daughter and everything she went through, and all the things I learned about different organizations through cancer research and things like that, taught me so much. I was a big advocate and still am, but I was used to be a lot more active in it. Organizations where people put up, if you put children's cancer on something, it looks real good and it gets a lot of sympathy and it'll get donations, but not all of them are good. There's an organization called Locks of Love or Locks for Love where they make wigs for kids. They're shit. They're evil.
I've heard that from people.
Um, so what I found out they did is they get hair donated from Caucasians, and this is going to sound like I'm putting a racial aspect on it, but this is just the stone cold truth. Caucasian hair, or hair from North America, is the most sought after hair by companies who make doll heads for cosmetology companies. Cosmetology, when hair students, children, or excuse me, students who are going to be doing hair salons and things like that, barbers, when they need dolls' heads, they go to these companies for these dolls' heads to work on the hairs. And the hair that those companies make the dolls' heads out of, they use real human hair, and they're looking for Caucasian hair. They're looking for hair from North America and in Northern Europe almost exclusively because it gets the most money and it makes the best dolls' heads. What companies like Locks of Love does is they take the weight, the actual weight of the hair that they get donated to them from these places like North America and Northern Europe, and they sell it to the doll head companies. So they get maximum amount of money for this Caucasian hair. But it's legal because Locks of Love will buy the equivalent amount of weight of hair, the amount of volume of hair. They'll match that and buy hair from Malaysian and Chinese prisons, and they will get that hair from them and then excuse me, and use like maybe a third of that hair to do something with, and it's inferior to what it would have been in the first place. So their Locks of Love makes a huge profit. They make an enormous profit off this scam that they've basically been running. And there's 101 different companies who do shit like that. There's so many companies who run these scams. It's just like Kids Wish Network. There's a company called Kids Wish Network that claims to do what Make-A-Wish does. Make-A-Wish, the actual Make-A-Wish Foundation, is 100% great. Everything about them is 100% balls to the wall amazing. I will never be able to thank those people enough, and they deserve every penny of your money. Make-A-Wish Foundation did things for my daughter and for other kids I can't put into words. They are amazing. They go above and beyond in ways I can't describe. As a father of a wish recipient, I'm getting emotional even thinking about how amazing those people are. I hate the word angels because I'm secular, but they're fucking angels. Make-A-Wish Foundation is 100% amazing. But because Make-A-Wish Foundation is amazing, there was another organization that wanted to coattail that, and they created a thing called the Kids Wish Network. When you donate to Kids Wish Network, less than 10% of your money goes to the kids. Less than 10%. And they get rich off of it. They're absolute shit. And there's a million companies like that. Definitely research any charity you're trying to put money towards.
If I somehow ever manage to make it to a point where I'm able to make a comfortable living that's substantial, I don't want to say if I'm ever able to be a rich person, because that's what everyone says. But it's always been one of my dreams to create foundations and organizations that not only like inform people about the donations that they're bringing to, but actually make sure that the right people get the donations. Because like I'm really big about community. You've listened to the podcast enough. I'm sure you know about that. And I'm really big about like people being able to use whatever resources they have to help themselves and help other people. Like a net fund almost. But like basically what the rich do, but make it, you know, let other people have a piece of the pie too, not just the fucking wealthy. But it's I don't know how I'll do it yet. I have a lot of time and a lot of energy to have to put into that, and I'm not even in the place where I can think about that, but you might be someone that I'm going to have to pick the brain over on that a lot of, because
I'd love to help.
You have knowledge I don't, and it is highly welcomed.
I'd love to help. Definitely.
I especially want to help kids, and women and kids are my two targets, but anyone who doesn't have a voice and is needy, like that's... I know what it's like not to have a voice.
It's all sides. You know, I think you mentioned one of the videos I have on my channel is about domestic abuse, and I took part in that because I was a victim of domestic abuse, and anyone can feel powerless and need help.
It's a human thing. And we need to...
And that's exactly the problem. It's a humanity thing.
It's why we need to... need might be a strong word for people, but why it's a good idea to extend compassion and understanding. Even if you don't understand that you don't understand, but someone needs help, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just because you're okay doesn't mean others aren't.
Yeah.
And you should never, nobody should ever project their current life status on someone else because they don't understand. You know, it's very important to understand that your life experiences aren't other people's, and your traumas are not theirs. You know, it's there's always somebody out there, always, who's going to be going through it more than you have, or you ever will. You know, you could go through the worst thing in the world. There's somebody out there who's gone through worse, and it could be currently.
It's all
you never know.
Perspective. And
exactly, it goes back to the perspective we were talking about. And you know, even there's always a deeper meaning to everything too. The smiliest and most goofy I've ever been in my life is usually in the times when I'm doing the worst and I'm not okay.
Duly noted. If you ever start creating content that is super goofy. Hey, you okay? Notice you've been having some fun lately on your channel.
You've been really funny and seem like you're in a great mood. I hate everything.
For me, it's if I go silent. If you don't see me trying, if you don't see me actively talking or being around people, the more I withdraw, the harder I'm going through it.
That's when I'm going through it really bad. Is I just totally disconnect. You know, people won't hear from me for several weeks.
That makes sense.
To the point where recently a police officer came to my house and I'm like, what the fuck is this about? And it's like, oh, your mom called. She's awful concerned about you. And I'm like, that's not embarrassing or anything.
So you didn't message your mom during that period? Not even a little phone call? Hey, Mom.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks. I'm a grown man. She was concerned because she texted me on a Thursday and I didn't look. I go through periods, like I said, technology doesn't mean a lot to me. I'm not I have a big problem with people who live off their phones. Mm-hmm. When I was working in the bars, I had to have my phone on me at all times. And it got to be the more I thought about it, the more it pissed me off. And so now it's not uncommon for me to put my phone down and not look at it for a day or two. Like if it rings, I'll answer it, but I just won't look at it. And I'll come back to it and I'll have 1,000 messages from people who live off their phones and they can't fathom why somebody would not look at their phone for a day. They're like, how dare you? You didn't answer my text message.
The only time, and this is just through my personal experience, but the only time I'm ever concerned, actually concerned when I don't get messages back from people, One, just to be completely honest, and it's something I've actually worked a lot on, so it's not as bad as it was when I was younger. My ego, or my fear, my rejection sensitivity, is like, oh no, I said something to piss them off. They must hate me and never want to speak to me again.
I understand that because I go through that too.
But objective reality, that's not usually true. So like what my brain now actually defaults, what I call the healed brain, what it defaults to is, oh God, are they okay? Like, did I miss out on an opportunity to speak to them when, because I've had some friends who are no longer with us. I tend to go a long time without talking sometimes, unless you call me and blow up my phone and like, I don't know. My communication habits are weird, but I've had friends that I've tried to reach back out to and they're not here anymore. And it's kind of hard to
likewise
compartmentalize that. So yeah, I get what you say.
I definitely get that. I've had a lot of loss, unfortunately. But you know, if I text somebody and they don't text me back, if it concerns me, I'll call them. And that's something like my mom, when she called the cops saying like, I'm worried about my son. She didn't even call me. I didn't answer a text, so she called the cops. It's like, why didn't you call me? Well, you didn't answer my text. Well, why didn't you call me?
That actually segues me into a great point that I wrote down in my notes that I thought about earlier. You said land phones, and I haven't seen a land phone or like a home phone.
Home phone, yeah.
In 10 years. It's been 10 years since I've seen a home phone. I miss home phones because their primary function, they didn't have text. They had no text.
My parents' house still has a house phone.
Lucky. Tell them they're blessed. But wait, they do?
Yeah, they still got one.
Wonder if I should get one for the... No, that's an unnecessary expense. I can just start using my cell phone like a phone instead of a computer.
As far as I can tell, it has simplified everything that they have as far as like their home number. It's routes to all their bills and stuff, and it's simplified things. I love it because as far as they've had the same, it's the same address since I was a kid, and this makes people kind of look at me weird, but even though I've moved like a whole state away and everything, as far as the state of California is concerned, I've had the same address for 40 years. So, like,
nice.
When I moved back to California, I just told them what my address was. And like, oh, yeah, same one you got in our system. I'm like, what? I went to Oregon for 15 years. What do you mean? I'm like, oh, yeah, just take this computer test and you got your license. I'm like, sure. Why not?
How old were you when you got your driver's license?
16.
I was 22 or 21. I think I was 21.
And the week after I got my license, gas hit $2 a gallon and I panicked.
It's like 3 something now.
I would strangle a bottlenose dolphin to death for $2 a gallon.
I think you and most people who own a vehicle or drive a vehicle. But
yeah, the highest it's gotten out here is when towards the end of when Biden was in office, it got over $7 a gallon for a couple weeks out here.
Oh God, I remember that. I remember seeing that price one time, like $6.35, 7 something, and I'm like, please don't get any higher because I don't have a car right now, but I know several friends who do, and my social life is about to die if it goes any higher. It did. I mean, it didn't go higher, but I just stopped socializing.
You have do you go out a lot or anything?
No, I would love to do more like adventures, like outdoor stuff, and like just seeing what's out there and available. I'm not a party person. I mean, okay, I take that back. I don't drink. I hate alcohol with a passion, and I can't say that I hate people who drink. I just hate their choices in consuming alcohol. I love people, and I also hate them just as much. But duality, it's very important. But
One of my favorite words.
yes. Polarity too. They're two very different concepts, and I think they kind of intermingle. But I'm not a
I
party
think
person.
duality is one of my favorite words because it's a very childish way for me to make fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Duality.
I was assuming that's how you were gonna go with that. But I'm not a party person. Like, I'm not like a party and forget my life and like drink things away. Like, do I enjoy a good time? Am I a stick in the mud? No, if I'm in the right place and not super anxious. But, like, if I could have anywhere between 65 to 75% of my life being like maybe being home and like working on writing and reading and art and like cooking with family and friends, and then like the other half of that, whatever the percentages was that makes up the other, like be adventure and like going outside, fishing, stargazing, museums, clubs, like any and all of it. I want to experience everything at least once, maybe twice if I wasn't sure about it the first time. Life has too much to offer, and I think humans need to be more nomadic than we are. I feel like we're too stationary. We're starting to feel and look a little bit like the movie WALL-E, and I don't like it.
Yep. How about for breakfast in a cup?
No, thank you. Give me eggs, give me bacon, give me toast. Heck, I started liking waffles and pancakes a couple years ago. It took me a long time to like those. So that's progress, and give me those.
See, I don't understand that. How do you not like waffles?
I don't understand how I didn't like them either, but my conclusion is I think it was like the dough and the sweetness thing. Like, I don't like sweet bread, really. Cornbread bothers me. I love that people love cornbread.
Never been a fan.
Too
Cornbread
sweet.
to me, even when it's moist, to me, it tastes dry.
Oh
And
my God,
that's
that
a weird
too.
thing for me to say sometimes, but
Yeah, cornbread is just dry and sweet and...
but you want to know something I don't like, and people look at me when I tell people this, they look at me the same way as when I say I've never seen Star Wars. I fucking hate potatoes.
Interesting. Why?
Just can't stand them. The super starchy, like I can do shoestring, like French fries, like shoestring French fries. I can do those, but like once you get up to the big fat JoJo's, it tastes too much like potato. I don't like it.
I'm sorry, did you say big fat JoJo's?
Yeah, JoJo's, like big steak fries, the big thick French fries that are like an inch thick.
I've never heard them called JoJo's, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I was
I think
described
they're called JoJo's.
as a meat and potato girl. I will eat any and all potato except tater tots.
I'm not a fan of tater tots. They taste too much like potato.
I have well, no, obviously, they're potato. I have friends that look at me crazy because I won't eat tater tots, and I'm like, it's a texture thing. You go ahead and eat your weird...
Tater tots are the hamburger of potato.
You go ahead and eat your weird cubed potato. I will eat a normal French fry like a normal person.
So I'm guessing you don't like hash browns then either.
I like home fries over hash browns.
Hash browns are just flat tater tots.
Yeah, they are, and they're a atrocity.
The tater tot patty, like I said, tater tots are the hamburgers of potatoes.
Agreed, and I'm gonna start using that from now on. I do not want the hamburger of potato. Thank you.
Yeah, no, for me, I'll eat the meat and then everything that the meat ate. So I'll have like meat and broccoli.
I will
But
take your
potatoes are
potato, and we'll double up on the meat.
There you go.
But, yeah, no, being a meat and potato girl is very simple, but meat and pasta also is possible.
I make some mean pasta. I make some mean meat products too.
Do you make all of your pasta homemade, or do you...
I try to. There's times when I'm lazy and I'll buy like store-bought pasta, but I do have a KitchenAid mixer and I have my own pasta maker and everything. It just takes a long time. It takes because making the pasta takes a whole day, um, and then making
Thoughts?
whatever you're making out of the pasta takes a whole day.
Mm.
And when I make my sauce, I make my fucking sauce. I mean, I'm Italian. I'm to the core. Um, when I make my sauce, I'll make. Well, one thing I do make in advance usually is my sauce, because I'll make 4 gallons at a time. And when I make my 4 gallons of sauce, I'll cook it for 14 hours, and then I put it in ice cube trays. I'll freeze it, and I'll take the cubes of sauce and put it in gallon Ziploc bags and put it in the freezer. So that way, if I ever want individual servings of pasta, I can just heat up exactly how much sauce I want.
That's genius. That's like
I like it.
very
It's worked out for
genius.
me. And then if I ever want chicken parmesan, all I got to do is put the breast in the oven and put 3 cubes of sauce on top of it. And it's the perfect amount while it bakes.
Meal prep, but Italian style. You should
Yes,
start
ma'am.
you should start a company for that. No, like seriously, like only specialize in meal
Manja meal
prep
prep.
for Italian food. Like that could sell a lot. It would be better than like the other stupid meal prep places.
Probably. Well, I was a competitive bodybuilder for a long time, so meal prep is something that I believe in.
Competitive bodybuilding. Tell me
Yeah,
about
I
that
did.
world, because that sounds fun and not something I'll ever even scratch the surface of.
I mean, a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of food. I would eat 10 times a day. Um, just working out a lot. My whole life was the gym, basically. Um, it was one of the things when I was doing mixed martial arts that kept my head busy. When right after Bella passed away, it was really hard to keep my mind focused on things, and having everybody at the gym really helped me out because you build a community of people that are like-minded, a bunch of like-minded meatheads. All you care about is proper nutrition and training and keeping your mind focused on things. So it was a big help. Um, Healthy and unhealthy at the same time because you're pushing your body to do the things that it doesn't necessarily want to do. I will say that doing competitions, I say bodybuilding, but there's two different categories. There's bodybuilding and physique. I did physique, which you don't have to be as big for. So physique is you go up there in board shorts. Bodybuilding, you go up there in the banana hammock thong. But so I was doing the board shorts, and it's healthy in the way that you're working out every day, you're training, you're eating good, you're eating healthy foods. But it's unhealthy in the way that when you're actually getting ready for a competition, you're forcing yourself to get thin and removing water weight and all these things. Like when women do the competitions, almost all of them have fake hair when they go on stage because their hair is falling out. You're supposed to be this pillar of health, and you're actually going on stage very unhealthy. During the regular training, when you're just going throughout the year, you're fine. But when you're getting ready for competition, it's very unhealthy. It's kind of like mixed martial arts. MMA, I'm the healthiest dude in the world all year long, or all for a couple of months, and then I get ready for a fight, and I have to starve myself and go through this thing to get rid of weight. And getting up to the competition, it gets to be really nerve wracking and really annoying, and you're kind of stressing your body. So training is amazing. Getting ready for competition sucks.
I almost feel now while I was listening to you talk about that, I was like, what are the ways that you could make that a little bit better on the mind and body? But then a new thought emerged, and it was like duality. Maybe you need that little.
Duality.
Yes. Maybe you need that little bit of being unhealthy, not just to like polarize the healthy part of what you're doing and like appreciate it more, but like it's another extreme, like you're pushing your body to another extreme in another way. So like it has that drive or that momentum itself,
You
even
do
though
consistently ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then you remind yourself, oh, it's for this. You have the potential for massive letdowns, though, if you don't succeed, which is, for some people who aren't as mentally, I don't know if stable is the right word, but for people who aren't as mentally prepared for failure or for not placing first or whatever, it can be pretty devastating, especially considering, in that world, you're totally starving yourself of carbohydrates to where your body is very sad all the time. And what I mean by that is when you're getting ready for competition, this actually happened to me. You're depleting your body of carbohydrates before competition so much. The only carbohydrates I would have are in the very early morning, and I would have oatmeal in the very early morning, and then I wouldn't have carbs like the rest of the day. And this is for several weeks out of the competition.
Wow.
I would have my oatmeal in the morning, and physically, I would start crying, uncontrolled. I would not control it. It wasn't like I was emotional, but my eyes would start crying. And I asked my doctor if I was okay, and he's like, "You're crying because you're happy. Your brain is happy because you're getting sugar in you. You're starving yourself, so your brain is actually happy. You're crying because you're happy." And then I looked it up, and that's actually a legit thing.
Wow.
Your body goes into starvation mode, and you become irritable and really fucked up, for lack of a better term.
Nope,
But
nope, not pushing myself to that kind of extreme. No, don't do it,
yeah,
Mars.
it's
Don't do it.
you do some stuff that like from the outside looking in, it's absolutely insane. And people now, would I recommend training? Yes. Would I recommend competition? Absolutely not. Not one bit.
I
But
like
it just depends on your goals. It depends on what you want to do.
now it's probably I do a lot of research and shit before I decide to jump in and do something that might like wreck me, or I pace myself in such a way that like won't lead to devastating results toward, I don't know, the end of investment, whatever that investment
Hmm.
might be. And intermittent fasting is one of my favorite things to do. I will do
Hmm.
it dry. I'll do it where it's anything solid. I'll do it both where it's solid and liquid, and I'll do it where it's just liquid. I'll actually, that one's less common, but I'll also do fasting from technology entirely, especially toward the end and first of the years. Like I'll literally block out a period like the first week of January, not going to be using my laptop, not going to be using my phone. But unless I absolutely...
Definitely cathartic sometimes.
Oh yeah, getting back in touch with humanity and not machine. But listening to you talk about your experience, like it's definitely from trauma that I have a thing for pushing extremes. I feel like most people that have any level of like PTSD from like combat or
Hmm.
anything, like they'll tell you like, yeah, one of the ways that we like feeling alive again is to push the extremes. And
It's true. It's true.
I I have objective sense enough to know that I should listen to my body and not push myself to the same extremes that some people have, but sometimes I really fucking want to. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hear your story and I'm like, how far could I go for myself in that same area? I do have an interest in building more muscle, mostly because I want to see. The internet term is muscle mommy. I'm not a mom,
Hmm.
but
We can
I want
So I'm a
definition.
certified trainer. I could actually talk to you offline about that too.
Cool. I'll have to, because that is one of my like 2026 goals, is to build more muscle mass and maybe also protect my cardiovascular system and my
Yeah, I can
my
definitely
bone
help you out with
schedule.
that. I can definitely point you in the right direction for some stuff.
Cool. We are in business then. Um Now, believe it or not, we've been talking for 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Damn. Time flies.
Indeed, it does. Now, I do have to get going here very soon, but I want to play this game with you that I mentioned before we started the recording
Shoot.
episode. I explained it to you, but I'm going to explain it again because we did share a lot of information. But, two things before we do this. One, is there anything you want to ask me, any topics you want to dive into for the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, or do you want to just jump into the game? I'll give you a choice.
Man, this is your barbecue. I'm just trying to help it taste good.
Okay. This is technically our show right now because it's the both of us producing this.
Well, then it's a potluck, and I brought what I was bringing.
Got me there.
I don't know.
Damn it.
I have a feeling. I have a strange feeling this won't be the first time we do this. Honestly.
Well, I am 100% inviting you back before we end the recording, just so there's a little bit of a commitment there.
Right. Like, I mean, I could. One thing that always happens when I do these types of things is there's always 1,000 more topics that we could have talked about that we think about later,
Mm,
and I guarantee it'll probably happen this time too.
indeed. We'll be DMing into the night.
Indeed.
All right. I have a game here. I don't know how it's actually pronounced because I feel like I'm an uncultured swine, so I feel like I butcher everything incorrectly, but it's called the Hig game, and I guess it's the Swedish little game. So let's read the back of the box. Oh, Scandinavian or Danish. Okay.
Lorkin, Borkin, Lorkin, Dork, Dork, Dork.
Is Scandinavian really that different from Danish? Anyway, Hig is a...
Danish is a type of Danish is a type of Scandinavian.
Interesting. How many different types of Scandinavians there are? I'll look that up later.
I think 5.
Man of many answers. I like that. But Hig is a Scandinavian or Danish really word for enjoying the good things in life. It invokes an atmosphere of coziness accompanied by a feeling of contentment and well-being, and there's nothing more Hig than spending quality time with the people you love. The game, or the Hig game, is all about bringing people together by encouraging friends and family to share their stories and bond over discussions of the big and small things in life. I don't think I actually need help with that with this podcast, but it's still fun and provoking. I split the card deck up into 4 piles, and I'm going to let you have the first question. Number 1 through 4, choose one.
3.
Okay. Now, each card has 3 questions on it. Do you want to stick with 3 or do you want to change your number?
Let's do 2.
If you could travel to 800 or the year 1800 and take a modern item to impress people, what would you take? Now, you can have the choice of asking me that question, or you can answer that question, or we can dialogue it.
To the year 1800?
Mm-hmm.
Does it say a location?
No.
I'm going to think of it in a very literal term and say an axe, because I would be surrounded by trees that I would need to get chopped down.
Wow, that's crazy to think about. There were a lot more trees on the planet in the year 1800, huh?
Yeah, and where I was, there weren't any people, so I'd be screwed.
Like literally no people?
Like where I'm currently sitting, there would have been no people. This would have been mostly coastlines and redwoods.
That...
The Miwoks and the Pomos were up north, and the Miwok tribe wasn't here for another 1,000 years.
You know, let's just leave the trees as they are for now and enjoy the scenery.
Wait, 1800? No, they were here like 500 years after that. But yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Something to survive with, because I would have been screwed.
So, a fire starter. A modern fire starter.
This is why people think I'm a stick in the mud sometimes, is because I think of things very literally, and I overthink what my answer is. When most people would say something like, "Oh, a cell phone to mystify them," I'd be like, "No, but then they'll think you're a witch and they'll kill you."
Well,
I'm always that guy.
The thing is I like that practical nature. If we're going in the realm of practicality and you need a tool to survive, fire starter, modern day fire starter. Practicality to survive, a multi-tool, but none with modern tools. Like we're thinking machete.
I have an escape axe that it's an axe, it's a pry bar, it's a hammer, and it's like a long pry bar, and it's got a fire starter on it. So I think that's probably the one I would take, actually.
Is it also an axe that you can throw?
You could, but it wouldn't be very useful as a throwing axe. So it's got the hammer end. On the opposite end, it's got the axe, and then in between the axe and the hammer, it's got like a handle, and that's the handle for the long pry bar that's on the end of the bottom of the handle. So it's like you can open shit with it or pry shit apart with it. It's like a disaster axe. It's for fire and rescue.
For science, I require photos of this.
I shall send.
All right. I'm gonna choose a card now. 4 piles here. Let's go with good old number 1.
Selfish.
Hey, shush.
Now.
Let's see. 1 to 1. That's a good ratio, right? Was there any
Yeah,
one
sure.
rule in your house growing up that was excessively strict? Oh man. Excessively strict?
Excessively is doing a lot of heavy lifting, isn't it?
Not really excessive. I mean, unless my mother had the wonderful inclination to say that if I ever left, I'd be leaving with everything that I'm wearing on my back and nothing else, which came
Was
true.
she gonna auction your stuff?
No, but I don't know how that would have gone. I'm sure she would have found a way. What about you? Was there an excessive role in your life, in your house growing up?
Um, for me, I'd have to say both my parents did the best they could with what they had, and my dad came from a household where he didn't have his dad, and my mom was Roman Catholic. My dad's family was Irish Catholic. So I think as a counterpoint to them both having very strict upbringings, they did their best to be fair. Even though they were strict, they did their best to be fair to me and my brother, and it had positive and negative impacts. Whereas in times when it probably been should have been more lenient and more understanding, they were insanely strict, and in times when they should have been paying more attention, they weren't. So it kind of went both ways. I wouldn't say anybody was excessively strict, but they were irregularly strict, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, it does. That kind of
Okay.
resonates. Actually, makes me think of a question. How old are your parents?
My dad is 64. My mom, 66.
So I did drop the years my parents were born, the people who raised me.
Yeah, they old as shit.
Yeah, I I got a unique experience to be growing up in the 2000s with people from the silent generation.
Do you have siblings, you said?
So about that,
Oh gosh,
technically,
sorry.
technically, by adoption, my biological father and my aunt are siblings.
Hmm.
Um, by birth, I have an older half brother I never met from a different dad, same mom, and my biological mother somehow managed to get pregnant not quite a year after I was born. And I have many, many, many opinions about abortion. Two
Hmm.
different perspectives on that, too. She had 5 of them before having me. I was due to
Hmm.
be a sixth. I don't think you should have that many, for any reason.
It's a lot of times to scrape the bowl,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term. Excuse me.
No, no, that's pretty close to actual, like, how it is. But, there is a younger half sibling from another father, and I can't imagine how many others might be running around. So I would love to meet them, but I don't know how in the realm of possibility that is. Or at least I care about family. I have strong family values for not having a very good like family bond and tie. I at least want to see where my half siblings are and if they're okay because I know the people that we came from and
Do you know if they know about you?
they do not. Unfortunately, my older half brother was older by at least 10, if not 15 years. Um, my
One thing I
younger
am thankful for. I'm thankful that my parents, through all the negatives and everything, they've been together as long as they have been, and I won't say it's been bliss, but it's been simplified.
they make the conscious choice to stay together every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did they meet?
My parents, it's a funny story actually. So they ended up in the same, for some reason, uh, as fate would have it, they ended up in the same podunk little town in Northern California. Both their families did. It's a town called Ukiah, California. And when they were growing up, like when they were in high school, this town literally had four things. It had a high school, it had a jail, it had a prison, and it had, or a jail, excuse me, it had a jail, a high school, a hospital, and a cemetery. And they were all across the street from each other. That's all this little town had, little hick town. And one of the things that this place eventually got was a skating rink, and it was like the only thing that was for entertainment in this whole town was a skating rink. And in the 70s, skating rinks were like a big deal. So my dad was part of this thing called the USA, the Ukiah Skating Association. These dorks in baby blue shirts with powder blue paint on them, basically, and they were like a gang that went to the skating rink. I'm not joking. And they would go and dance to songs and shit. And my dad had an accent, so everybody was like, "Oh, that's the British guy. That's the British guy." But my mom was like leaning up on the side of the skating rink and just chilling with her friend. And my dad skates up to her, and I guess my mom had a haircut that day. Earlier that day, she had gotten her haircut. My dad skated up and was like, "Hey, you got hair on your face." She's like, "What?" And then he skated back around. He's like, "You got hair on your face." She's like, "Did you say I have hair on my face?" Ooh. And she was like mad at him. And then she saw him again like a week later, and he came up and apologized and introduced himself, and that's how they met.
That is not only a funny story, but that is so insanely adorable.
I think it's adorable. Like the first time, my mom was so mortified when she told it the first time. I'm like, "That's so freaking cute. Are you kidding me? That's like the cutest story ever."
That's
Some
like,
asshole comes up.
ah,
She's like, "I thought he was joking. I thought he was like making fun of me with that accent." I'm like, "Oh." Because he has super heavy accent. It's like border between like Scottish and English. It was funny.
what does a border between Scottish and English accent sound like?
Well, so he's from the Isle of Man, and it's like in the middle of the Irish Sea, in between Ireland and England and Scotland. There's a little tiny island called the Isle of Man. That's where my dad's from. He's from a place called Douglas, um, on the Isle of Man. And the Isle of Man is an English ownership, but Manx people are their own thing. They're their own culture. They're their own. It's one of the six Celtic nations. Is the Isle of Man, and it even has its own language, Manx Gaelic. Um, and so it's its own kind of accent. So there's two different accents. There's Northern and Southern Manx, which is a tiny little island, but my dad has a Northern Manx accent. And it's gotten, now he barely has anything. Like he'll get drunk and you'll hear it every once in a while, but you barely hear it now. He just sounds American. But when I was a kid, I remember he wouldn't even say, like, first of all, they rarely called me Chadwick when I was growing up. My mother either called me Lupo because one of my Italian nicknames was Lupo Manato or Lupo, and which is wolf or wolf boy. Um, and she would call me that, and they also called me booboo. And my dad, when he did say Chadwick, usually it was when he was drunk, but he used to just call me Chad because they thought kids in school would make fun of me if they could name me or called me Chadwick, so I was always Chad. But when he would get drunk, he'd go Chadwick, Chadwick. It's like he was just fucking hilarious the way he would say my name. And when he would be real angry, he would sound Scottish, and when he would just be normally talking, he sounded English. So it's funny how it would come out in different ways.
I love anytime I ask people about their accents or like how their voice sounds, it's not because I like want to make fun of them, it's because I love culture. I love how
Mm.
it blends. I love how it is. I love how humans adopt these accents and these verbiages to like how they speak and how they pronounce things and how they act in restaurants or just in life. Like,
Right.
we're such
Oh,
strange
that's
creatures.
and the slang terms is there's a few things that came out when I was a kid that I would say that teachers would look at me and just be like, "What did you just say?" And like to me, it was a totally normal thing people said in the house, but apparently, you're not supposed to say that kind of stuff. Like the C word. The C word is not a big deal in English culture or people from the UK. My dad says the C word as much as people in America say the F word, and yeah, apparently that shocked a lot of people when I was a kid. Or yeah, the word clunge, which is one of the most horrifying words in the world. When you explain to an American what it means, they're like, "Oh God."
So, hi,
Um,
American here who wants to learn about things. Please go ahead and explain it.
so slangs for a woman's private parts. Fanny, like fanny pack. That means vagina pack, basically. So if any English ever look at you funny because you say fanny, it's because it means that. Um, the word clunge is a description, a derogatory term that's a description to describe like a woman's private parts, but it's just such a horrifying word. I love using it, and nobody knows what I'm saying. I'm like, you fucking clunge. I'm like, what the fuck is a clunge? And then they'll tell me they're like, oh god, ugh. It's like the word crotch. It's just ugh.
It's
Um,
almost like a mix between crotch and like
lunge.
yeah.
It's just gross sounding. Um, but like the way I don't know, he like I said, he doesn't talk like it anymore. But the way my dad used to talk, people would be like, "Oh, it's so romantic," and I'm like, "God, it sounds like somebody's barfing." When he's like, he used to say this one thing all the time. He would say, "We have to go back home," but he would say, "We have to go back home," and people would be like, "What the shit did you just say?" He'd be like, "We have to go back home." It's like, okay, no idea what you just said, and all it was saying we have to go back home, but we have to go around that way before I go back home.
When I
Uh,
can't understand someone, be that language, be that accent, be that slang, be that whatever, I take that as a challenge to like learn something because I'm like, wow, I'm stupid. Let me figure this out.
Well, it's definitely helped, and I will say, like, learning because it's the same language. We speak the same freaking language, and it's funny to say that to some people because even in America, there's certain places in America, like the Appalachian South, or over in Appalachia, or certain parts of the South. If you go to certain rural parts of Texas or to Louisiana, and stuff, there's people speaking English, but they don't move their mouths when they talk. And it's very difficult to understand them if you come from New York and you've only ever heard a New York accent, or if you're from Washington State, you've only ever heard a Washington State accent. Certain regional dialect is impossible to understand if you have no if you haven't been around and haven't learned these different things because you'll be totally in culture shock. It sounds like a completely different language. Um, like I said, parts of Texas. My brother went to college in Texas, and I would ride my motorcycle out there to visit him. And I literally met people who didn't move their mouths when they speak. They'd lean back and say, "Hi, how y'all doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And then they'd say it again and be like, "Oh, how are you all doing?" "Oh, doing good, man. How are you?" They're like, "I'm doing good." And it's like, holy shit. Like you don't
Enunciate,
realize that stuff's
friend.
out there until you hear it. But being exposed to it definitely helps because there's times online, I've done debates and things with people in the UK, people from Cornwall, people who speak Cornish. They're very, very difficult. Like we'll have an English speaking moderator from California. They won't know what the fuck the other person's saying. And I'm like, well, they're from Cornwall. They speak very strangely to, us in the States. And they're like, you can understand them? I'm like, yeah, don't worry. I'll tell you if they say a bad word.
One of my this is like so me, but if and ever I do get a chance to like actually travel the world and go to different countries and stuff, one of the very first things I want to do, and it's going to cost money, but I want to do it. I want to do it in a way that I want to do it. So I want to learn the language, maybe not in such a way that I'm like super fucking fluent, because being fluent in like the language that I'm not immersed in every day is a challenge. But I want to know enough before I go to know pleasantries and how to get around and how to ask for help and food and stuff. And
Which is
then I want to ask, be like, hey, can you guys teach me a little bit more? Like, kind of develop a relationship with people and be like, hey, like, bring me into the culture. I'm American as all hell, but I'm willing to learn if you're willing to teach. And I feel like that's something that more people and tourists need to do. If you're going to a new place, if you're going to a place where the culture is not your culture, respect
definitely
that
learn enough
shit.
to get around.
Yeah,
Learn enough to get around and learn some of the culture so you know what are the taboos of the culture.
learn enough to get around, learn enough to respect it and not be a disrespectful piece of shit. That's just
L-
my opinion on
I
that.
say learn because I've been very thankful and very lucky that after Bella passed away, I made it a point that I wanted to travel and I learned more languages. I'm fluent in Italian and fluent in English. I can speak American Sign Language. I have a good amount of Russian, good amount of German. Um, and I'm still learning too. So it's like I'm still learning Russian, I'm still learning German, I'm going to be starting Spanish because it's a crime that I live in California and I only know enough to get around the job site. Like I can find my way around. Like I've gone to Tijuana and stuff, and been able to ask around, but I can't have a conversation. Um, but I've been very lucky in the fact that I've been able to see every continent except for the frozen one. And I've done a lot of traveling, and I absolutely adore it because being able to see the architecture, the culture, the people, the food, it's I love it.
The art.
Uh, yeah, everything having to do with the culture and their history. Certain parts of the world that I've seen and probably would never want to go back, and certain parts of the world I'd love to go back. You wouldn't be able to pay me enough money to go to India again. Uh, just saying. No offense to anyone out there.
There are a lot of places, or I do want to go anywhere and everywhere, but I have two goals in my life before I die.
For a travel destination?
Yes. Two
Where to?
specifically. Japan for sure. I want to visit the entirety of Japan.
Japan's a trip.
And we're on the subject, and I don't want it to sound like I don't know, but I've always wanted to go to Pompeii in Italy. I want to see the history, the culture. I
highly recommend it. There's things that I've wanted to see, in and around that region of the planet that I haven't been able to see yet.
The history alone, like just with Pompeii's story by itself, an entire civilization vanished because of a fucking volcano. That's intense, and
make sure, if you get the chance to go, make sure you see Herculaneum as well.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Putting that on the list then. Why would you recommend that one?
Because having one part of the puzzle without seeing the other part, or it's like without seeing Herculaneum, if you're seeing Pompeii, is like you're getting one half of the picture, and then the other half could complete it.
I do like completed pictures. How would you spell that? Because I want to sound it out, but I don't think I can.
Like the beginning of Hercules, and then the end is just Inum, Inum, I think. I'm not that great with spelling. If you say Herculaneum into your Google voice, it'll type it out for you.
Herculaneum. Okay, yeah, I was almost correct. I love the spelling of words and stuff. Like, that's the other reason I want to visit Japan and also Italy. There's a lot of
Japan's a trip. Just make sure you see, like you said, you want to see all of it. See more than I did, because Tokyo is cool, but Tokyo is such culture shock, and there's way too much to see, and you'll be overwhelmed, and it's like, what the hell have I gotten into?
I want Tokyo to be my last stop in Japan, because I want to start with the countryside. I want to start with tea ceremonies. I want to go to actual temples. I should have done it that way.
Yeah, I wish I would have done it that way, because I started in Tokyo, and it's like being dropped into a video game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Literally and figuratively.
Is it really, like, are there more lights there than Vegas? Because if there are more lights there... Oh,
yes. It's like you got dropped into the middle of a pinball game.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And another thing about Tokyo that nobody tells you, and they don't want you to know about, and the locals will even lie about it, is there is a lot of crime that you don't hear about and you won't ever be told about. But if you're in, like, the main streets, if you're in the main part of the city, it's not a big deal. But the second you go into any alleyway, it's bad news. But you don't ever hear about it, because the image of them having a super crisp, clean society is what they care about the most in the world. So that's why, like, the police can mess with you for no reason there. And if you do anything there, you're screwed. And in Japan, they can, like, it didn't happen to me, but the law in Japan means that they can take you and keep you in jail for up to 90 days without charging you with anything. And they don't have to tell anybody you're there.
What the fuck?
It's actually a deep dive that you'd probably be interested in. That it's like, oh my god, this is horrifying. They can lie to your family, or they can lie to you about your family. So yeah, they called and we told them that you're in jail, and they don't want anything to do with you anymore. That's why they have over a 98th percentile conviction rate, because they get people to confess to shit they never did.
That is crazy. And yes, that is going into my notes. Wow.
Yeah, look up. There's a lot of YouTube videos on it. The Japan's conviction rate and why it's a problem. Like, there's been people who have filed missing persons reports on their family members who are American tourists because they thought they went missing in Japan. No, they were just in jail, but Japan doesn't feel like they need to tell anybody that they're in jail. They just take them. They just kidnap them.
That should be a crime against humanity, like a humanities crime. Oh, I mean, it
Should be.
is.
There's
But
also a lot of culture shock. I will advise too. There's also a lot of culture shock. They really don't like tourists, and they will tell you they don't like you because you're white. There's certain restaurants and there's certain parts of town you won't be allowed to go into because you're white.
so segregation?
Essentially, yeah. I think it comes from, and they say it. They say as much. They don't hide it. That they believe that tourists and foreigners. They actually just use the word foreigners, but they say our foreigners have gotten into trouble in the past or they destroy things, so we don't want any foreigners here. Like, there's several restaurants that have a big sign out front that says, the kanji, and it'll say, in Japanese, it'll say no foreigners allowed, and then it'll say in English underneath it, no foreigners allowed. And there's whole sections of town where it's like the street will be blocked off saying no foreigners.
So what happens if you go to Japan and find Prince or Princess Charming and get married and you try to go to one of those shops? Are they going to know that you are now technically a part of the culture in
I
a
think
way?
I think even if you live there, if you're a resident, you still can't go in because you're white.
Wow.
A buddy of mine named Abraham, he lives there, and he still has to abide by the rules. He's gotten the cops called on him a couple times when he tries to go into local shops,
Wow, that's insane.
and they show up quick too. There's a lot of them.
I mean, he's not doing anything nefarious or crazy, is he? Or is he?
Just existing,
Jesus.
just existing in a location he's not supposed to.
So, in every culture, across every continent, in every historical presence of humanity, we have people who just. Wow, that is an interesting use of free will in the 21st century.
Japan has a very interesting history when it comes to segregation and racism. If you haven't done that deep dive, it's definitely worth looking into because it's apparent and unapologetic.
I will probably do more deep dives into the actual, like, dark sides of stuff more. The thing is, with me, I hate deep dives into dark sides of stuff unless it's, like, psychology or stuff like that. Like, the actual internal human, not external things that are hard to control and
Right.
change. Because I experienced so much darkness early on in life. But information
enjoy
is awareness
those deep
and
dives.
key.
Because of the past that I had, I enjoy those kind of deep dives because that kind of stuff helps us get the bigger picture on what caused it and how to avoid it in the future, or how to help others avoid it in the future.
Do you have any readily available rabbit holes for me to jump into?
On which subject?
Japanese segregation.
Oh, just I would just start searching in feudal Japan and the racial classes, and the because it was very much divided by status and origin of race, and up through into World War II. I mean, that's essentially why World War II was doing what they were doing in Japan, is because they were kind of on the same page as Germany, just as Japanese.
Hmm.
They were their own island nation, and that's the way they wanted to keep it.
I will never say that we should destroy cultures or change cultures that aren't ours, but coexistence is key. Learning how to blend cultures and celebrate cultures.
We need to stop obsessing over the differences. Celebrating, yes. Obsessing, no. I think one of the biggest people look at me like I'm crazy when I say this, but I think one of the biggest problems with cultural differences, and it has to do more with subcultural differences. You know, for example, in America, people, a large group of people who are racist towards black Americans, they'll say, well, blacks are the problem and they're all into ghetto culture. It's like, okay, well, you just defined something that doesn't have anything to do with the melanin content of somebody's skin or their origin of geographical location. You just mentioned something that has to do with subculture. Gangsta. That has to do with rap, hip hop culture. That's not a cultural thing, that's a subcultural thing. You don't like rap music, you don't like gangsta culture.
Don't listen to
So
it.
people need to concentrate more on what they believe in a literal, this okay, let's narrow it down to what I'm actually having a problem with. And also people need to stop obsessing with, this is another thing people look at me funny about, but they don't dissect what I'm saying. PC culture, politically correct culture. People obsess with it the wrong way. We need to stop with this nonsense of, oh, he made a joke about this specific thing, and that's a horrible thing that we need to stop doing. Morgan Freeman said it very well on TV when somebody asked him, how do we get past this cultural difference? How do we get past the racism? How do you as a black man, me as a white man, how do we get over our differences? And Morgan Freeman said, we just stop calling ourselves a white man and a black man.
We're just
Stop
men.
obsessing over it.
We're just women. We're just people.
Yeah. The black friends I've had in my life, we get along great because we don't obsess over that shit. He can make a joke about white people that's like a generalized tongue-in-cheek kind of a thing. I can make jokes about black people that's like a tongue-in-cheek thing. And it's not like we're being directly, insulting to each other. It's just we're recognizing that there are those little differences that they don't matter. They don't matter. Of course we're different. We're observably different visually, but we're just people. It's like people concentrate too much on the differences in a bad way and not on the ways that it's like, who gives a shit?
I love that you said
We're all
all
human
that.
beings.
Thank you for those truly eloquently spoken points, because my thoughts exactly. We're all just human beings. We're all trying to live a life. We're all trying to...
Yeah, we should celebrate our differences, not focus on why they make us different. Of course we have cultural differences. Celebrate that. Cultural appropriation is one of the terms that I hate the most on this fucking planet. People say, you can't culturally appropriate this culture. Why? I've seen on TV and things where people say, if you're serving Mexican food, if you're serving Hispanic food and you're white, that's cultural appropriation. Check it out. If you tell a Russian-born American that they're only allowed to eat beef stroganoff and borscht, they're going to tell you, fuck you. Cultural appropriation just means you learned something different and you're trying it. People need to stop with all this cultural appropriation bullshit. If you're a white person that likes rap music, you're just a white person that likes rap music. If you're a black person that likes country music, you're just a black person that likes country music. We're all people, and it's all just stuff. I don't care if a black man born in Alabama wants to eat Italian food or, enjoy Italian artwork. I don't care if a guy who, here's even more, my dad can wear a kilt because of our family tartan and everything from the Isle of Man. I'm not going to care if a black guy born in Alabama wears a kilt. Why do I care? I'm not going to call it cultural appropriation. It's just a dude wearing a kilt. Who cares? People need to stop with all that nonsense. We're just people.
I love that mindset so much, because I grew up on my mother. She taught me a lot of different ways when it comes to like Native American culture, like various tribes and stuff. I don't remember all the names of like the tribes that she would like work with and listen to and take medicines from. Medicines is like teaching. It's like philosophies. It isn't just like actual medicine. I'm sure you know. But I'm actually really close to the Pomo reservation out here. She'd go to the Gathering of the Nations every year that it would happen until it started getting really gang affiliated and really dangerous to go. Now it's Gathering of the Juggalos. Yeah, I guess so. I haven't actually heard much about it. I tried to keep up with it a couple years ago, but I just have so much going on in my life. It's hard. But I love like any and all of like the Native American cultures. Like I'm not partial to any one denomination or one religion or one belief system. Like, give me it all. I am a consumer of knowledge. Give me any of it. I agree with a lot of people when they say that, like, you can't, like, there is no, well, I agree with you. They're like, there is no cultural appropriation. And I hate it when people are like, you can't wear that, fucking arrowhead. You can't have those clothes.
You can't do that because this imaginary line I've made.
And it's like, actually, here's why I can. It's because it's from the earth and I am a child of the earth, according to Native American teachings and various different cultures and subcultures. What I can't do, which actually is kind of offensive in a lot of ways, is wear the headdress that is meant for the head chief leader. That is a little, that's weird territory, especially if you don't really...
You're talking about the war bonnet?
Yes. That is territory that, maybe we don't hit unless we're super educated in, because it is like a special tribal thing in a way. I don't know. Like,
each tribe has their own design and their own specific make of war bonnet and how they make it. Like the Mohawk and the Shoshone and a couple other tribes do the porcupine quill roach, as they call it, which is like a mohawk looking thing that goes on the top of their head. The Plains Indians have each tribe of the Plains, each Plains tribe has their own type of war bonnet, which is the huge feathered all the way down your back that you mostly see. Every single one has the Pomos and the Miwoks and the coastal tribes out here. They all have their war bonnets are just like a rack of horizontally mounted feathers going across their forehead. Each one has their own specific thing, kind of like each Celtic nation and each Celtic family. Surname has their own specific plaid print of tartan. So each one has their own signature. It's still not necessarily appropriation. It's just each one has their own signature, is what I would say.
For that, like, signature, that's kind of what I was getting at. It's not appropriation to me. What it is it's like a sign, especially if you don't have the knowledge for the different types of headdresses like you do. It's kind of like to me, it's a test of ignorance. Like, if you're gonna wear a headdress and I'm gonna ask you questions about it, please know what you're wearing. Mm-hmm. That's all I ask. That's all. Especially headdresses. That is, for their culture specifically, that is such it's like a centerpiece in on a table. It's like, it has a spiritual, a physical, a storytelling reason for it. It isn't just like a t-shirt,
Well, it's ceremonial.
Yes, exactly. I like ceremonies. They're interesting to me. I'm always trying to create my own traditions, but traditions are strange to try to uphold.
It's for the same reason. Like, I would never, African culture, you would never wear one of the war masks of one of the tribes because it's like there's this very specific reason those masks exist. You would never, for Celtic nations, you would never, for the Picts or anything like that, you would never paint yourself blue because, first of all, history doesn't know if they actually did that, but you just wouldn't do it. But as far as the other stuff, like food, give me a break.
Yes, exactly that, yeah. Well, hey, we managed to make it to 3 hours. How do you feel about those? How do you feel about those apples?
I feel like those apples have only been stewing for about a half hour, but hey, it was fun.
We will definitely have to do this again. When do you think you will have your camera ready by chance?
So, now that I got this all back up, even though it was halfway done, I mean, shit, probably 4 days, honestly. 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days, huh? Okay. How would you feel about coming on before the end of the year or the very first of next year? We can discuss these terms later. Just think on that.
Yeah. It works for me.
Do you have any websites or links or photos you want me to add in your description for our episode today?
I mean, I can send you one of just like the picture that's my avatar.
That'd be great, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have linked your YouTube before, I think. Do you mind if I link it for this episode specifically, so when you do start creating again?
For sure, yeah. Just at Forging Thought at YouTube.
Cool. I'll do that. I have no notes. I have notes. Was writing notes, but 10 out of 10, this was a great episode. I had a lot of fun talking to you. Thank you for
For
coming
sure,
on,
definitely,
Chadwick.
of course.
Let me do the famous digital quill closing, and we'll get to our next process. But is there anything you want to say to the viewers before we go?
Peace be the journey. Cool run-ins.
You know what? Actually, fuck. One question before we go. If you could teach
Sure.
anybody in the world anything at all, if you could have a class with all 8 billion people, what would you teach them?
You're worth it.
Yep, no notes. 10 out of 10. Perfect. All right. Thank you for being on this episode. Thank you, viewers, for listening. As always, I hope you guys have a great day, great night, great whatever it is when you're listening to this. Keep going, humans of Earth. I'll see you next time. Bye.
What's up?